Chapter 721. You really don't understand romance. Unwoo squeezed out a faint smile from his throat. It was as if they were still on that art street. He stood there with his easel propped up, his eyes as clear as water, glancing at her from time to time. Then, he would dip his brush in ink and carefully paint. That voice was just a casual tease. You love Jiang Zhao so much. Even if I were to live in this life, you wouldn't marry me. Even if I tried to snatch you away, I wouldn't be able to win. I asked you to make a promise to a next life, but you refused. Petty. Yi Er clutched her leg, the pain was unbearable. Unwoo, I don't believe in a next life. Believe in it. Let me have some thoughts. At least give me some hope. There was a kind of voice, as lonely as snow. There was a kind of waiting, as lonely as snow, as white as the sky, with a hint of desolation. Yi Er shamelessly realized that her heart was hurting. Other than Jiang Zhao, she was hurting for another man. Her tears were like diamonds shining under the moonlight, sprinkling on the boy's face. Unwoo. Unwoo let out a long sigh. His breath was getting weaker and weaker. So what if I believe in a next life? Yi Er held Yunwoo's hand tightly, as if trying to hold on to his weak breath. Unwoo, I believe in you. Unwoo chuckled softly, with a trace of satisfaction. He had been lying on her leg with his back facing her, but at this moment, he turned his head, opened his eyes, and looked at Yi Er. The moon was like silver. Under the clear moonlight, his gaze was as clear as water. The joy in his eyes was as dazzling as the sunlight in the day. Then in the next life, marry me. You're not allowed to regret it. I'll let you go in this life and let you live happily with Jiang Zhao. I won't regret it. Yi Er, you can't forget. Remember that you promised me a next life. I won't forget. Unwoo, I won't forget. Yi Er couldn't see the pair of gems that reflected the moonlight. His eyes closed again. Yi Er hugged Yunwoo's head tightly. No matter how much she shouted, Unwoo didn't respond to her. Yi Er's shoulders trembled violently. She choked with grief. Unwoo, don't sleep. Unwoo, you're going to the other world so early. Do you want me to die too? Can't you live a few more years and wait for me? Unwoo. After a while, Unwoo weakly said, Yi Er, if I'm lucky enough to live a little longer, let me pursue you just once. The thing I regret the most in my life is missing you and letting Jiang Zhao beat me to it. What a pity. Yi Er hurriedly nodded. Okay. Then you must pursue me. The thing I regret the most in my life is not being pursued properly. Unwoo. Anyway, I'm already divorced. You can do it. We're both single. You must pursue me. Ha. Unwoo chuckled, but only he could feel the bitterness in his throat. It was so bitter that even his tongue felt numb. Yes, I'll definitely pursue you properly and learn everything I can about pursuing girls. Yi Er, you're the first girl I've ever liked. You're the only girl I've ever liked. I must pursue you. Yi Er didn't know why, but Yunwoo's words were always very coherent. Although he was a little weak, he didn't seem to be panting and seemed very stable. But after he finished speaking, there would be no response for a long time. It was as if this person would never speak again. It caused the surroundings to be shrouded in a heavy aura of death. Countless military off-road vehicles were sweeping the grassland in all directions with their headlights on. The barking of police dogs could be heard one after another on the grassland. Helicopters were flying along the grassland with high-powered searchlights on the ground, searching carefully. Jiang Zhao sat in the helicopter. His ears were filled with the deafening sound of the propellers and motors. He looked out the window. Under the high-powered searchlights, the grassy plains were fanned by the propellers. The wind was blowing, causing ripples on the grassy plains. His brows were furrowed tightly, and his face looked as if it was carved out of stone. It was so cold that it was hard. The meeting was not over yet. When he heard that Yi Er was missing, he left everything behind and left. The bodyguards had been found, but Yi Er was still missing. Ever since the search and rescue was arranged, he had not said a word. He only looked at every corner that he could see. He was so serious that even the pilot was a little shocked. There was another person who had the same expression as him. It was Zhuang Yichen, who was sitting at the back of the helicopter. This was the first time Zhuang Yichen and Jiang Zhao were sitting together in public. But their purpose was the same. They were looking for someone. He didn't have the time and mood to reminisce. He just wanted to find that woman as soon as possible. The walkie-talkie was reporting some useless information. Jiang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen could only focus their attention outside. At this time, a long string of coordinates was reported from the walkie-talkie. The pilot replied excitedly, "Roger, Roger. Snow Wolf, Roger. Mayor Jiang, we found 3 people over there. Let's go over now." Jiang Zhao immediately sat down. 3 people? Yes, 3 people. Xiaoya was holding her mobile phone and turned on the flashlight function. She pointed at the helicopter in the sky. "There are people over here. There are people over here." When Zhuang Yichen saw Xiaoya, his heart skipped a beat. Who was that person? Her hair was all black, and even her hair was covered with mud. Usually, she would not make such exaggerated movements. But he could still catch a familiar figure from those exaggerated movements. On the other hand, Jiang Zhao recognized Yi Er at a glance. It was so cold at night, and she was not wearing much. The strong light shone on her, but she did not even lift her head. She just hugged the head of the person who was lying on her lap tightly. She lowered her head. Before Unwu was sent to the operating theater, Shi Jintian rushed over. Unwu had been put on an 4 drip and was no longer in a coma. In the ward, Shi Jintian was crying on top of Unwu. When he called out his grandson's name, he felt he had aged instantly. Unwu. Unwu pulled Shi Jintian, and Shi Jintian put his ear close to Yunwu's lips. Yi. Don't touch her again. I beg you. Unwu was struggling to speak. Shi Jintian was shocked and looked at his grandson. You know about it? This was considered a silent acknowledgement. Unwu knew about Shi Jintian's love for him. When he thought about it, he regretted that he always stayed in the studio. It made his grandfather think that Yi Er was bothering him. That was why he wanted to kill her to get some peace and quiet. The 2 families would not be hurt. But if Yi Er was really dead, he would rather die early. How could he get some peace? He touched Shi Jintian's hand and said softly and intermittently, "Yes, I know. But I won't tell anyone. Grandpa, don't touch her again." From the beginning to the end, it was my wishful thinking. She didn't do anything wrong. But Shi Jintian did not expect Unwu to see through him like this. She is my wish to live. Grandpa promises you. Unwu seemed to be worried and refused to let go of Shi Jintian's hand. Even if I'm not around, don't touch her. Unwu, you're not allowed to talk nonsense. Yunwa's eyes reddened and he said anxiously. Grandpa, I didn't even kill Jiang Zhao. How could you hurt her? How could you bear to hurt me like this? Yunwa's eyes were filled with deep pain. Do you know how many times I wanted to kill Jiang Zhao? I even loaded the gun. You know how accurate my shooting is. I know how to assemble a gun. If I really wanted to kill him in a chaotic situation, they wouldn't be able to trace it back to me. But Grandpa, you didn't allow it. You said that I couldn't hurt anyone from the Jiang and Qin families. You were talking about righteousness and kindness. But Yi Er is Jiang Zhao's wife. She is also a member of the Jiang and Qin families. How could you? Unwu, you're a femme fatale. Shi Jintian felt his heart ache when he thought about how Unwu was obsessed with a woman in the past. How could he let a woman ruin Yunwa's life? Once a person died, they would slowly forget everything. Grandpa, you said that a femme fatale? What was the cause of the disaster when I was 8? Unwu calmed down and looked at Shi Jintian indifferently. You. Shi Jintian didn't expect that Unwu would still use the murder case to provoke him at this time. Grandpa, you should be grateful to her. You should be grateful to her for letting your grandson experience the feelings in this world other than family. At least he didn't come to this world in vain, right? Yunwu's clear eyes overflowed with tears. Grandpa, I love you. I also love Yi Er, don't hurt her anymore, okay? Shi Jintian couldn't look into Yunwu's eyes. He turned his head, clenched his fists, and said solemnly, okay. The wheeled hospital bed was pushed out of the ward and into the operating room. Shi Jintian chased after it to the door of the operating room. His gaze was locked there without moving. The hospital was arranged by Jiang Zhao. It was a local military hospital. Outside the window, the sky was filled with stars, but he wasn't in the mood to enjoy them. Xiaoya had suffered some cuts in the swamp. Now, she was lying on the hospital bed, clean and clean. Medicine was applied to her wounds, and she was hooked up to an 4-drip. It was an anti-inflammatory drug. The ward was a little crowded. There were no separate rooms, so Xiaoya and Yi Er stayed together. Because Yi Er was in a daze, Jiang Zhao was worried that it was because of the miasma in the swamp, so he patiently stayed with her. Actually, it was just to comfort himself. After seeing Unwu fall into her arms like that, how could he not overthink? Moreover, after hearing Xiaoya's story, Jiang Zhao was upset that he wasn't the one by her side at that time. Xiaoya leaned against the headboard. Zhuang Yichen sat on the round stool in front of the bed and analyzed. Your horse is already submerged in the swamp, but there's something wrong with Yi Er's bodyguard's horse. There are steel needles under the saddle, but they're not very long. Only when the horse moves harder and harder while riding will the steel needles pierce into the horse's back. You won't notice it for a while. Zhuang Yichen, let's break up. Zhuang Yichen obviously didn't expect Xiaoya to suddenly say something like this. He came all the way here, and this was all she said to him? He said coldly, looks like you're too tired. Sleep early. Xiaoya looked up. She thought about how Unwu had saved her while shouting for Yi Er not to move around. Her tears were about to fall. People would only feel deep sorrow when they were like her, right? How much did Unwu love Yi Er that he would save someone who had nothing to do with him for Yi Er? That feeling made her go crazy with jealousy. As her tears fell, she looked up at the man who had already stood up. She pulled out the needle in her hand and threw it away. You can either break up with me or marry me. It's your choice. Don't even think about threatening me. This time, even if you want to kill my whole family, I won't give in. Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 722. Jiang Zhao heard the argument behind him and turned around. He happened to see Zhuang Yichen's flat back swaying slightly. Nonsense. Zhuang Yichen pressed Xiaoya back into the blanket and turned around to look for the nurse. Xiaoya didn't argue. She lay there quietly. Don't you think it's troublesome? Do you think it's a pity that you didn't collect my body today? Zhuang Yichen turned around. Little demon Xiao, have you had enough? Xiaoya turned her back and pulled the blanket calmly. Anyway, I'm still going to say the same thing. If we don't get married, then we'll break up. This time, I'll pretend that I'm dead. Zhuang Yichen, when I knew I was dying, my mind was filled with you. At that time, I was wondering if I should tell you that I seemed to have fallen in love with you. But my hand was outside the quagmire and my phone was in my pocket. I couldn't possibly tell you that I've been with you for 4 years, and in the end, that's my only wish. Suddenly, Xiaoya felt a wave of astringent air coming out from her stomach and choking her throat, making her unable to continue speaking. Her face was cupped by the man's large hand. After a while, he said leisurely, do you like a Chinese wedding or a Western one? Xiaoya held the man's hand and covered her face. She cried for a long time before she came back to her senses. She turned around and looked at the man sitting by her bed in shock. What kind of wedding do you like? Chinese or Western? Xiaoya was stunned. Her smile was uglier than her crying face. She happily wrapped her arms around Zhuang Yichen's neck. Zhuang Yichen, did I succeed in forcing you to marry me? Did I? Did I? Let's go back and choose a ring and a wedding dress. Xiaoya only knew that the man's voice was soft and gentle. It sounded like he was doting on her, but she ignored the hint of panic in his voice. Jiang Zhao held Yi Er's hand and asked Zhuang Yichen, can I not know about the wedding? Xiaoya wrinkled her nose and snorted. No, you have to bow. Jiang Zhao laughed. Haha. Yi Er asked Xiaoya, Sister Xiaoya, what gift do you like? Xiaoya shook her head. No, I want cash. When Yi Er saw that Xiaoya was happy, he was naturally happy as well. His mood also improved a lot. No, talking about money hurts our relationship. When Jiang Zhao saw the smile on Yi Er's face, he relaxed a little. Xiaoya hugged Zhuang Yichen's waist and leaned into his embrace as she looked at Yi Er. She was so proud that it seemed like she was showing off. Talking about relationships hurts money. Our friendship is stronger than gold. Zhuang Yichen pushed Xiaoya away and said coldly, no matter how strong it is, you have to take the anti-inflammatory medicine. It's over. When Xiaoya saw that Zhuang Yichen had gone out to call the doctor again, she muttered, he really doesn't understand romance at all. But her eyes were filled with endless happiness. Unwu woke up a few hours after he came out of the operating room. When the sun rose, he asked his grandfather and the servants to buy chocolate-flavored popcorn. In the afternoon, he got out of bed and took the popcorn that the servants bought from the cinema to Yi Er and Xiaoya's place. Coincidentally, Jiang Zhao was there. Unwu acted as though he didn't see him. He walked to the other side of the bed and handed the popcorn to Yi Er. His clear eyes held a gentle smile. It's chocolate-flavored. I don't know if it's the same as the ones you used to eat. Zhuang Yichen frowned. Jiang Zhao reached out to take the popcorn and placed it on the bedside table. It was one thing to be grateful to Unwu for keeping Yi Er safe, but the nature of a love rival didn't change. He said to Yi Er, even though you're not injured, the miasma in the swamp is poisonous. You should be careful and not eat anything carelessly. Popcorn is very explosive. Unwu didn't seem to care about Jiang Zhao. He only looked at Yi Er intently. Yi Er thought about the promise she made to Unwu. She thought about the words he said and the pain in her heart still lingered. She sat up in bed and put on her shoes. She stood beside Unwu. Unwu, thank you. It must be delicious. Her voice choked. She remembered that one time she brought popcorn to the art street and treated him to it. Try it. It's chocolate-flavored. It's not bad. Men don't like to eat things like that. What? Nowadays, young men and women all like to eat things like that. They eat it when they watch movies to kill time. She opened the packaging and ate it herself. It turned out that he remembered it after that one time. Jiang Zhao suddenly felt a stone pressed down on his heart. He had never known that Yi Er liked to eat things like that. He had never known. Seeing Jiang Zhao stand up, Unwu smiled. He actually didn't want Jiang Zhao to misunderstand. It was just that there were some things that he wanted to do in the past but couldn't. He wanted to fulfill some of his wishes. He was a little selfish, but he had already made himself magnanimous enough. You rest. I'll go rest too. When Jiang Zhao saw Unwu leave the room, he didn't say anything and followed him out. Yi Er was afraid that Jiang Zhao would do something stupid again, but when she went out, she saw that Jiang Zhao and Unwu were clearly heading in different directions. When Jiang Zhao returned, Yi Er found out that Jiang Zhao had gone to get discharged. On the plane, just as Yi Er was about to speak, the silent Jiang Zhao interrupted her. Yun Yi, don't even think about falling in love with someone else. Ah Zhao, I promised Unwu that he would pursue me. Yun Yi, you're really something. Jiang Zhao glanced sideways and saw Yi Er looking at him with tears in her eyes. His heart ached. You've only been separated from me for a few days. Ah Zhao, listen to me. I don't want to listen. Unwu is going to die soon. Yi Er reached out to cover her face. She was afraid that she would lose her composure, but she still felt unbearable grief. He only had one wish. Jiang Zhao looked up. He wasn't wearing a shirt or suit, so he thought that his tie was strangling his neck. When he reached out to pull it off, he realized that he wasn't on a business trip. He was only wearing a simple t-shirt. Don't try to fool me with this. Yi Er pressed her palm against her forehead and rubbed it. He had a heart transplant when he was 8 years old. He's going to die soon. When I checked his breathing, he was almost out of breath. After thinking for a long time, Jiang Zhao couldn't calm down when he heard the heartache in the woman's voice beside him. At a time like this, he had actually lost to Shi Yunwu. Just because he was healthy, Shi Yunwu was going to die. I can give him other things in return for protecting you, but I don't agree to this. He only wants to pursue me. I won't do anything to let you down. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er. How was she asking for his opinion? She was clearly forcing him. Her attitude was so unyielding. He reached out to pinch her chin and pointed his index finger at her heart. Then what about your heart? Does your heart belong to me 100%? Yi Er's eyes suddenly flashed. She avoided his piercing gaze. My heart won't change, Zhao. From the beginning to the end, I've only ever loved one man, and that's you. In the past, now, and in the future. Jiang Zhao released his hand and smiled sadly. Yin Yi, you're so straightforward and sure. Are you trying to convince me or yourself? Yi Er refused to back down. She said that she would never go back on her word to Unwu. Never. Because of Yun Hongwei's matter, Jiang Zhao didn't dare to recklessly get close to him. They still lived separately. It wasn't until Enyu returned to Haicheng and began to take on the responsibility of sending Yi Er to work that Jiang Zhao finally couldn't sit still anymore. He directly moved into Zhuang Yichen's house and chased Zhuang Yichen out of 9th Mansion. Yi Er, I realized that the sky is a little gray today. But when I thought of seeing you again, the sky and my heart suddenly turned blue. I wish you happiness. Yi Er opened the door. The person who delivered the flowers at the door handed them to her and took out his own light blue card. It was Yunwu's handwriting. She could almost see how happy he was when they were at the art street. She carried the flowers and went downstairs. Unwu was waiting there. Yi Er, did you sleep well last night? Very well. How about you? Unwu opened the car door for Yi Er. I had a good night too. I had a good night's sleep. And so it went on day after day. Yi Er, when I went to discuss the bid yesterday, I saw a girl in their company's HR department with hair that looked like yours. But your hair is longer than hers. When you tied it up, it was a little curly. Later on, I realized that it wasn't that similar. It was only because you both had a part black and part yellow. I wish you happiness every day. It was a purple card. Yunwa's handwriting wasn't as wild as Jiang Zhao's. It was delicate and strong. Yi Er, after I sent you to work yesterday, it started raining and the roads were very congested. But when I thought of how happy you were walking down the stairs with the flowers I gave you in a ponytail, I suddenly felt like the sky had cleared up. I wish you happiness too. It was a pink card. Yi Er, do you still remember when you wore a white dress? It was very beautiful, just like Xiao Longnu, but you couldn't move. When you stood still, you looked like Xiao Longnu, but when you moved, you looked like Huang Rong. Tell me, am I right? I think you're really cute like this. Sigh, I really like this side of you. It was a card that was half white and half bright red. The bright red half was obviously drawn on by Unwu himself. After an entire week, Jiang Zhao couldn't tolerate this anymore. No matter how Yi Er felt about it, he couldn't accept it. But if he spoke more harshly, Yi Er would say, aren't we divorced? And she would say something like, it's not like I've done anything inappropriate with Unwu. We haven't even held hands. Good Lord, so what if they hadn't held hands? Psychological infidelity was still infidelity. At this juncture, could he say that he hadn't even signed the divorce agreement? Could he say that they hadn't gotten a divorce certificate? Of course, he couldn't say that with that woman's IQ, he could still deceive her a little. The reason for their divorce was because of Yun Hongwei. This was a bottom line that no one wanted to cross. He couldn't even tell her that they were still husband and wife. He was thinking that this was his retribution, right? Back then, he was so confident that he could have her in the palm of his hand. With one phone call and timing, even if she had just come out of the bathroom dripping wet, she would still have to run downstairs to see him. He had always been controlling her, but now his emotions were being led by the nose by her. Was this the legendary inner strength backlash? Beauty novel, Shinwoo 799. Chapter 723. It was a Sunday morning and the sun was shining brightly. The white Maserati opened up and there was a huge bouquet of purple and gold roses in the back seat. It was very beautiful and the bouquet was stuck in the back seat. A smaller girl would probably drown in it if she held it in her arms. Such a rare flower was obviously flown in from abroad. It was very difficult to cultivate and the production was very low. Such a huge bouquet was worth millions. The boy who was driving smiled casually. His features were delicate and pretty. His handsome and elegant temperament attracted the hearts of the young girls on the road. It was a flight. The car drove into 9th Mansion. Today, Jiang Zhao did not generously let Yi-er do as she pleased. Instead, he waited downstairs early in the morning. Good heavens, didn't he ask the florist to send flowers today? Such a huge bouquet would crush someone to death. Jiang Zhao walked over. He felt that Eunwoo did not change much from before. He walked over like a gentleman. Eunwoo got out of the car and greeted politely, "Good morning, Brother Zhao." "Good morning." Why did Jiang Zhao feel so uncomfortable? Was he the one who went to look for Shi Eunwoo? Shi Eunwoo was more generous than him? Oh, the mistress wanted to enter the house? Why are you here so early? Eunwoo took out the flowers from the back seat. The bouquet was too big and blocked his chest. It looked very heavy. However, the boy was so beautiful that he looked like a peach blossom. "I'm here to deliver flowers to Yi-er." Jiang Zhao spat in his heart. "Bah. That's my wife. King make it sound like she's the real deal." If it wasn't for the fact that this was not the time to quarrel with his wife, he would have chopped you up. "Oh, I'll just bring it home for her." "You've spent a lot." Jiang Zhao emphasized the words, "bring it home." He took the flowers from Eunwoo like a gentleman and looked at Eunwoo meaningfully. "Shi Eunwoo, what trick are you playing?" Eunwoo shrugged innocently. "Then I'll have to trouble you, Zhao bro." Then she turned around and got into the car. She looked at Jiang Zhao with a smile in her pure eyes. "I'll ask Yi-er later if he likes it." Jiang Zhao almost vomited blood. Motherf ***. That was his wife, and he still had to bring flowers upstairs for his mistress. His mistress was much more magnanimous than him. ***ck. In Jiang Zhao's mind, he had never used so many vulgarities before. However, during this period of time, he had used the most vulgarities. Suppression. Suppression. Just as he turned around and went upstairs, his phone rang. It was Zhuang Yichen. "Hello. Brother Zhao, how long are you going to stay in my house?" "What's wrong?" "I can stay as long as I want." Jiang Zhao thought about it. That's not right. What he said was too ominous. Stay for a few more days. How many days is a few days? 2 days or the 9 heavens? I'm buying it for you. What are you shouting for? I'm not short of money, so why should I sell it to you? You're not short of houses, so why do you care how long I stay? Xiaoya likes to stay at 9th Mansion. Then get Xiaoya to come over and stay with Yi-er. She could help him keep an eye on his enemies. Zhuang Yichen was stunned for a moment. What kind of bro was this? If Xiaoya went over to stay with Yi-er, then where would he stay? You. Jiang Zhao said confidently, "That's right." "What about you?" Zhuang Yichen was annoyed. You're going too far. Jiang Zhao laughed. You're being ridiculous. Zhuang Yichen scolded again, you're being unreasonable. Jiang Zhao said, you're making trouble out of nothing. Zhuang Yichen was infuriated by Jiang Zhao. Who's making trouble out of nothing? Jiang Zhao was in a bad mood because of Unwu. Of course, he wouldn't let go of the chance to anger Zhuang Yichen to death. Of course it's you. You said that you'd let me stay in the house, and now you want to take it back. What kind of logic is that? You're making trouble out of nothing. If that's not making trouble out of nothing, then what is it? Zhuang Yichen had only wanted to call Jiang Zhao to discuss the matter. Xiaoya kept grumbling that she was going to get married, but she was still living in her own house. She felt that her status hadn't improved since she couldn't stay in her husband's house. She even said that living in Qingfeng Garden was making her intestines knot. Living here made her feel like she was an outsider. He said that they should move back to the suburbs, but she said that he usually stayed at 9th Mansion and that she liked living there too. Seeing that Xiaoya was drawing a blueprint and saying that she wanted to design a wedding dress for him, Zhuang Yichen made up his mind and started arguing again. The house is mine. I don't want to let you stay in it. What's wrong? Jiang Zhao laughed out loud. Hugging a large bouquet of flowers, he shook his head. Hearing that Zhuang Yichen was angry made him feel a little better. I want to stay. What's wrong with you? Chase me away if you dare. Xiaoya snatched the phone and said to Jiang Zhao, why are you arguing so early in the morning? Are you guys gay? You're like a married couple, and you're even bickering? Xiaoya had become his wife, and her tone was arrogant. In the past, she wouldn't have dared to snatch Zhuang Yichen's phone to talk to Jiang Zhao. No matter how bold she looked, she was still afraid of Zhuang Yichen. But now that she was going to be Mrs. Zhuang, she should have some dignity, shouldn't she? Zhuang Yichen pulled Xiaoya into his arms and bit her ear. My dear wife, speak louder. We want our house back. Xiaoya's face heated up and her heart warmed. She was about to fight with Jiang Zhao, but the call was already hung up. When she called again, Jiang Zhao shamelessly turned off his phone. Xiaoya grabbed Zhuang Yichen's collar and shouted, Jiang Zhao, that bastard, doesn't play by the rules. He's shameless. Hubby, you have to avenge me. Okay. We'll go back tonight and chase him out. Xiaoya said, okay. Husband and wife are of one mind. Zhuang Yichen added, so sharp that it can cut through gold. Zhuang Yichen hugged Xiaoya even tighter. Haven't you seen a diamond ring that you like? No. Zhuang Yichen kissed Xiaoya's neck. Why don't we order one? We'll buy a ring after my wedding dress is done. Okay, you can decide on this. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone. *CK, he was so angry in the morning. Shi Yunwu made him angry, and now Zhuang Yichen and his wife were showing off their love over the phone to provoke him. Was the whole world laughing at him for being alone? Today, he didn't knock on the door and didn't pretend to be a gentleman. He just opened the door. He changed his shoes. Yi Er had just finished preparing breakfast when she saw Jiang Zhao come in with a big bouquet of purple and gold roses. She looked unhappy and guessed that it was a gift from Unwu. Jiang Zhao walked over and threw the bouquet to Yi Er. With a look of disdain, he said, one bouquet of flowers for $1 million. Remember to ask him to convert it to cash next time. You can use it to supplement your family's expenses. After saying that, he sat down at the dining table like the male owner of the house. He picked up a bowl of porridge and started eating calmly. Yi Er put the flowers on the tea machine in the living room and sent a message to Unwu, saying that she liked them very much and that the flowers were very beautiful. She then went to the kitchen and took out some bread and fried eggs for Jiang Zhao. She smiled at Jiang Zhao, who was busy eating. Why are you here so early today? Jiang Zhao snorted. If I didn't come early, would you have gone out for a ride with him? She held the bread in her hand and wrapped Jiang Zhao's favorite side dishes in it. She handed it over. Even if he went out, it was just for a ride. Don't think too much. I told you everything clearly, but you still don't believe me? I already told you that he doesn't have any bad intentions. Jiang Zhao took it as the annoying man downstairs. He took a big bite. I'm here today because I need to talk to you about something. What is it? You have to go to G City with me. Did something happen to Shenxian again? Yi Er was really worried about that beauty. No, they're getting married soon. Shenkai wants to go and see Shenxian. Because of the Qin family, Shenkai wants me to go with him because we went together last time. Jiang Zhao racked his brains to make up some nonsense. Shenkai was indeed in G City and would go there every week, but he didn't invite him to go with him. However, it didn't matter if he wasn't invited. He would make the invitation a reality in a while. In short, it was right not to let Yi Er stay in High City. Shi Yunwu was like a lingering spirit that was a master at picking up girls. When he saw Yi Er hugging those flowers every day, his eyebrows flew up. It's not the wedding, so we don't have to go, right? When it's the wedding, we have to go and attend the ceremony anyway. Isn't it normal for us to go? We're not Shenxian's family. How can we follow Shenkai? You're still young. What do you know? Do you think it's just going to see his sister with Shenkai? There are so many things that I can't explain clearly in a short time. I'll tell you slowly on the way. Jiang Zhao felt that it was not a problem for him to fool a woman like Yi Er. He could make it sound more serious and that stupid little fox could only listen to him obediently. As for an explanation, he really hadn't thought of a good one. Rather than saying that he would tell her slowly on the way, it was better to say that he would think of a way to explain it to her slowly on the way. Just as Jiang Zhao thought, Yi Er really didn't dare to think about it in detail. She didn't understand the benefits and transactions between these families. At least, she didn't understand it deeply. It was just like how Jiang Zhao had analyzed why the Qin family didn't help the Han family last time. How would she be able to figure out the mystery behind this? When are we going? Jiang Zhao was delighted. After breakfast, you can pack your things. I'll go back and pack my things too. We'll set off immediately. Yi Er looked at the clock on the wall. So soon. Jiang Zhao realized that his lying had reached another level recently. Of course. Why else do you think I'm here so early? It's the weekend. I should be sleeping in. Jiang Zhao used his work speed. After eating, he threw down his bowl and left. He also asked Yi Er to pack her things quickly. When they reached the airport, Jiang Zhao realized that they seemed to be escaping. Yi Er sent a text message to Yunwu, saying that she was going to G City. Yunwu said that she wanted to have fun. Shenkai was already in G City on Saturday. Jiang Zhao had already told Yi Er in advance to keep it a secret. When they reached the hotel, Jiang Zhao asked Yi Er to accompany Shenxian and said that he had something to discuss with Shenkai. As a result, Yi Er believed that Jiang Zhao had to come to G City. Although Shenxian would be considered a suspect if she had to go through legal procedures, she could still move freely in the Pei family. However, everyone knew that the Pei family was powerful in the south. Even if Shenxian wanted to escape, it would be easier for her to break out of prison. After they left, the Pei family sent a chauffeur to take Yi Er out for a walk. Yi Er and Shenxian sat in the back. Shenxian was more silent. This was different from the Shenxian that Yi Er remembered. Shenxian had been in the limelight for the past 2 years in Haicheng. She was known as a playboy and changed boyfriends one after another. They were either playboys or third-rate celebrities. Other than those who had good looks, none of them were decent. However, at this moment, Shenxian was sitting quietly by the window. She was completely different from the beautiful women in the headlines who wore heavy makeup and showed off their waists. Her black hair was tied up behind her head. She was as still as a puddle of water. She looked like a weak woman who could not withstand the wind. The orange sunlight shone on her face. On her porcelain white skin, her thin hair glowed faintly. When she looked out of the window, her side profile was so beautiful that it could not be imagined. Yi Er could not help but swallow his saliva. He patted his chest and asked, "Where do you want to go?" Shen Xian stared out of the window and said faintly, "Accompany me to get a tattoo." There was no discussion. She wanted to get a tattoo. Yi Er had a Persian chrysanthemum tattoo on his ankle before. He did not know what Shen Xian wanted to get. Shen Xian turned her head and smiled faintly. "I want to get a ring tattoo." Yi Er frowned slightly. "Ring?" "Yes, ring." Shen Xian turned her head away again. Her voice was choked. Ad Hongcha 866. Chapter 724. In the tattoo parlor, a delicate and white hand lay in the hands of the tattoo artist as he drew the image that Shen Xian wanted. It was an ordinary ring. The ring was decorated with a single or two connected pieces of yezi. Yi Er asked, "What does this represent?" Shen Xian looked at Yi Er and smiled. "A 4-leaf clover. 1 piece of yezi is a prayer. 2 pieces of yezi is hope." She prayed that the man who was beaten into a vegetative state by her would wake up. She hoped that he would be the same as before he fell down. Yi Er didn't ask any more questions. She already understood. Knowing that the 10 fingers were connected to the heart, Shen Xian still wanted the tattoo to be deeper. Yi Er was a little sad on the day that she accompanied Shen Xian. She didn't know Shen Xian well, but she could tell that even if Shen Xian smiled at her, it was very forced. Hence, Yi Er didn't say anything after that. She felt that she was a little redundant by Shen Xian's side. On the contrary, Shen Xian had to squeeze out a smile from time to time in order to accommodate her. Yi Er remembered that Pei Li said that they could go and look at the rings. If they liked them, they could buy them. Yi Er asked if they wanted to look at the rings. Shen Xian said that she already had a ring. Shen Xian raised her hand and looked at the sky. Her eyes were sharp. Even from the corner of her eyes, one could feel her determination. It was as if she was determined to cut off all paths of retreat for herself. Looking at the ring tattooed on her ring finger, Shen Xian said solemnly, "My ring will never be taken off in this lifetime unless I chop off my hand." Yi Er was stunned on the spot. Shen Xian's words tugged at her heart. That night, they had dinner at Pei Li's house. Pei Li wanted Jiang Zhao to stay in the house, but Jiang Zhao refused and took Yi Er back to the hotel. Still in the car, Yi Er's phone rang. She opened her handbag. It was a call from Unwu. Yi Er picked it up. Unwu. Jiang Zhao's eyes darkened. "Yi Er, when are you coming back?" It had been less than a day and he was exhausted. He wanted to go back and sleep. Jiang Zhao was a little thick-skinned. He stuck his face close to Yi Er's phone and listened to the call. "Xianyo, that fellow, he just wouldn't give up. Grandpa is taking me abroad for heart surgery the day after tomorrow. There will be a ball tomorrow night, and he wants to invite you." Yi Er was overjoyed. "Have you found a suitable heart?" "Yes, I found it." "Yes," Yi said, "yes, tomorrow. I'll definitely be there." Yi hung up the phone and her eyes curved into crescents. When Jiang Zhao heard the contents of the phone call, his nerve ending started to spew fire. "Yi Er, I've let you do as you please for so long. You've had enough. You're having a good time two-timing, aren't you?" Yi Er put the phone back into her handbag. "I'm not. I told you before that Unwu is just my friend. You're the only one who didn't believe me. Is there a need to be like this for friends? When Zhuang Yichen was in trouble, didn't you also act quickly? How can it be the same? You and Shi Unwu are of the opposite sex. How can it be different? There are people of the same sex who are together. I didn't even suspect that there was something going on between you and Zhuang Yichen. Besides, we're still divorced." Jiang Zhao felt suffocated by Yi Er's words. He really wanted to take a hammer and knock her out. In Yunwa's art studio at the Shi residence in Haicheng, Unwu sat in front of his desk. There was a stack of letters and envelopes on the table. He folded the letters and put them into different envelopes one by one. At this moment, Shi Jintian walked in with a glass of warm water in one hand and a small white medicine box in the other. His eyes were full of heartache. "Unwu, take the medicine." Yunwu's face was a little pale. "Grandpa, didn't we go to America around this time last year? And was there too. We even took some photos together. Where are they? Why are you looking for that?" "I want to send a photo of me and to Yi Er when the time comes." If he was no longer around, if he had ever lived in her heart, wouldn't it be better for her to give him her blessings? Shi Jintian's eyes were slightly red. He handed the water and medicine to Unwu. After watching Unwu take the medicine in front of him, he said, "It's in my study. I'll get it for you later. After your operation, Grandpa will snatch Yuni away from you and tie her to you for the rest of your life." "Grandpa." Upon hearing Shi Jintian's words, Unwu panicked. "Grandpa, regardless of whether the operation is a success or not, I won't be coming back." "You can't disturb her." "What do you mean by whether it's a success or not?" "It must be a success." Yes, it must be a success. But don't go looking for trouble with Yi Er. She has her own life." Unwu was so anxious that his face turned even paler. He clutched his chest and was about to slide down. Shi Jintian hurriedly helped Unwu up. "Hurry up and rest early. I promise you, okay?" The next day, it was nighttime. The Shi family in the south had invited all of High City's big shots to a banquet. There were many young masters in Mississippi. At the ball, Jiang Zhao clinked glasses with Qin Fian. Looking at the palace-like banquet, Qin Fian teased, "Brother, you're so generous." It's just a civilized dance." Jiang Zhao gritted his teeth as he watched his wife being held around the waist by another man. The bow tie around his neck felt a little tight. He reached out to pull it. "Stop pulling it. Even if you don't wear such a small bow tie, you'll still feel uncomfortable." After Qin Fian said that, he looked at Jiang Zhao's jealous eyes. He couldn't help but burst out laughing. Jiang Zhao kept looking at Yi Er and Unwu. The steps and rhythm of the waltz turned a boy into a man. They didn't even talk much, they just danced to the music. They had never danced together before, so how come they didn't step on each other's toes? Was this the legendary tacit understanding? He suddenly remembered Qin Fian's advice. Dancing was the easiest way to develop tacit understanding. D***M it. As soon as he stepped out, the music stopped. He walked to Yi Er and Unwu. They were about to speak when Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er out of Yunwu's arms with a seemingly gentle smile. Unwu let go and looked at Jiang Zhao's actions with a smile in his eyes. He bowed slightly to Yi Er in a very gentlemanly manner to express his gratitude. Yi Er felt a little awkward as she was dragged out by Jiang Zhao. Unwu looked at Yi Er's obedient manner. He scratched his head and laughed. Since Jiang Zhao cared so much about her, she would definitely be happy in the future. Yi Er was pushed into the car, pulled out of the car, pulled up the stairs, and pushed into the house. Yi Er remembered Yunwu's words when he brought her to the dance floor. "Why don't you provoke Jiang Zhao a little? You'll definitely like the way he looks when he's jealous of you." A girl should make the man she likes nervous for her. Only then can she satisfy her vanity, right? "How did you know?" "In order to pursue you, I did a lot of research." Yunwu's smile was pure and clean. At this moment, she looked at Jiang Zhao's ashen face and thought about Yunwu's words. Something warmed her heart, but she didn't show it. As soon as the door closed, the man pressed against her. When his lips touched hers, there was still a wisp of wine fragrance. The force of his grinding on her lips was hurried and heavy, and the breath coming out of his nose was also heavy. Occasionally, he would take a deep breath, as if he was panting. The hand that lifted her skirt didn't touch her legs like before. Instead, it went straight for Les's sexy underwear and pulled it off. She looked up at him and saw his eyes tighten. There was a dangerous glint in his eyes. The corners of his lips curled up into a naughty smile. Looks like I should satisfy you properly, lest you go around seducing men all day long. Seducing men, don't you think so, my vixen wife? There was an uncontrollable impulse in her body, and her eyes were already rippling with the spring breeze. She skillfully lifted her leg and hooked it around his tight waist, and seductively reached out to unbutton his shirt. She smiled coquettishly and said, "Thank you, Lord Hubby, for your consideration." Hearing the woman call him that, Jiang Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Looking at her watery eyes that were shrouded in love, he couldn't believe why she called him that. He grabbed her hand that was unbuttoning his shirt and asked slowly in a low voice, "Who's your husband?" Yi Er supported her waist and rubbed against Jiang Zhao's body. Her voice was charming, "Isn't it you?" Looking at the woman who looked like she was about to panic, the man grabbed the woman's leg that was hooked around his waist with one hand and unbuckled his belt as he lowered his head to nibble on the woman's neck. The tip of his tongue circled under her sensitive earlobe, and then he used his teeth to scrape her earlobe. He said hoarsely, "Are you only saying that because you want it now?" The woman's hand touched the man's checkered abs and felt as if she had been scalded. All the way down, the desire there had already risen. Looking at its aggressive appearance, one could tell how much that thing wanted to do. "Ah, Zhao, haven't we not gone to get a divorce certificate yet?" Jiang Zhao looked at the woman with a sly smile and gritted his teeth. "You 1,000-year-old fox." Right now, he wanted nothing more than to press her to the ground and kill her. To think that he had always thought that he had hidden it well. It turned out that she had always known that they were not divorced. Knowing that they were not divorced, she still allowed him to live outside and even let other men pursue her. She even separated from him, causing him to not even know what meat tasted like. This bastard. All the firewood and fire were piled together, just like the man and woman piled together. "Hubby, I was wrong. Please forgive me, then you'll have to serve me well today." Pfft. After rounds of competition, the television program came to an end. Xiaoya and Yi Er were packing up their belongings. Xiaoya had her assistant around, so she was very free. She patted Yi Er's back. "I can't bear to part with them." "Yeah, me too. I think I have some feelings for them. Next time, if there's an opportunity like this, you must call me." Xiaoya shrugged. This time, she helped Yi Er with the clothes. Although the money was not much, she was very happy. In the past, Zhuang Yichen had helped her with everything. But this time, it was considered her own business, right? The next time you walk the runway, you can do something special. I'll get my dancers to walk the runway. You can dance the tango for an evening gown show. Xiaoya hugged Yi Er and kissed her on the cheek. "Good idea, Yi Er. You're getting more and more business-minded, haha." The two of them were now living in the 9th mansion. When they had competitions, they would be at the same place, so they always went out together and went home together. The culprit had not been caught and there was no news at all. Jiang Zhao never dared to let his guard down. The bodyguards were still following them, so Yi Er did not dare to say anything. After saying goodbye to Xiaoya, they prepared to go home. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 725. She retrieved the letter from the mailbox downstairs. When she saw the American postmark, Yi Er was a little excited. She started to open the letter even before she reached home. She could recognize Yunwu's handwriting at a glance. Yunwu had practiced calligraphy before and his handwriting was very beautiful. The handwriting was elegant and masculine, and it was very similar to Yunwu's. Looking at these words, Yi Er felt that Yunwu was smiling at her. "Yi Er, hello, it's been 3 weeks since I last wrote to you, right? My surgery was a success. I'm just telling you. Are you very happy for me? Your show should be over by now, right? How is it? Do you feel a sense of accomplishment? And has also been learning to dance recently. I keep telling her that it's too late for her to learn, but she says that girls should know how to twist and turn. I really don't know whether to laugh or cry. I think this girl is really a little annoying. She keeps pestering me to watch her dance. I feel that I need to write more recently. And doesn't like it when I call you. I think I'll just let her be. Don't reply to me if I believe you. I'm afraid she'll be angry. Unwoo. Yi Er ran into the house and called Jiang Zhao. Ah Zhao, did you know? Unwoo seems to be in a relationship with An. What nonsense are you talking about? It's true. He wrote me a letter. His words are full of love for An. You're so happy that there's one less person who has a crush on you. How so? Unwoo has someone he likes. I'm very happy. Jiang Zhao also heaved a sigh of relief. If you're free in the afternoon, come and pick me up from work. Okay. Yunwoo's letters came quickly. Sometimes they were sent by international express delivery, and sometimes they were sent by post. The postmarks were dated from 3 to 5 days to 2 to 3 weeks. Yi Er received the 9th letter from America. Yi Er, hello, Haicheng must be very hot recently, right? It's already autumn, right? I'm fine. After the surgery, and didn't allow me to go out. I was surrounded by servants every day, so I was a little annoyed. Today, I went out with An and Grandpa to play. I wanted to go to a crowded place, so An made the decision to go to the Empire State Building. She even took a lot of photos. Don't you think An is becoming more and more like a child? After coming to America, she was much happier. Grandpa liked her more and more now. She was actually a good girl, right? I'm going to sleep. A young and mature girl like you should learn more from the current An. Sleep early, or you'll grow old quickly. Unwoo. Yi Er looked at the three of them in the photo. Shi Jintian stood in the middle, while Unwoo and An stood beside him. An's smile was indeed a lot wider than when she was in Haicheng. Was it because she felt happy now? Yi Er looked at the photo and felt a pang in her heart. She didn't know why, but she started to cry. Silly, shouldn't Unwoo be happy now that he's happy? Seriously. Yi Er put the letter back into the envelope and took it upstairs. There was a big jewelry box on the dressing table. She poured out all the jewelry and put Yunwoo's letter into it like a treasure. Yi Er, Grandpa said that he still likes the sky in Canada and that there are fewer people. It's more suitable for him to live here when he's old, so he's taking over all the businesses in the country. We won't be going back in the future. An has been getting more and more petty recently. Yesterday, I just mentioned that I wanted to write to you, and she got into a big fight with me. I think it's better that I don't write to you anymore. Her temper is getting worse and worse. Sigh, I actually didn't dare to tell An that I made a promise to you in our next lives. I was afraid she'd be angry. Yi Er, although I won't write to you anymore, I still wish you happiness and that you'll always be beautiful, just like when I first met you. Unwoo. Sure enough, from then on, Yi Er did not receive any more letters from Unwoo. She looked at the jewelry box that was not full a few times and felt that something was missing. There were a total of 13 letters in the jewelry box. Only the first Unwoo said, Yi Er, it's my first time in America. I miss you very much. After that, it was always an long, and short, at that time, in a foreign country, at the Seattle Lakeside Cemetery in America, there was an old man. Although he did not look thin and weak, he had a head of white hair. The girl standing beside him was dressed in plain black. She was holding orange flowers in her hands. Her expression was blank, but her cold eyes were filled with tears. There was a photo on the tombstone. The boy's eyes were pure and clean. The corners of his mouth were only slightly curved, but it was as if he was instantly bathed in sunlight. When the old man bent down and reached out his hand, his whole body was trembling. His wrinkled hand touched the photo on the tombstone. He choked out, Unwoo Grandpa didn't find trouble with her. Are you relieved? It was just that this old man's choked voice made the girl who originally looked like a girl burst into tears. She still remembered how heartless Unwoo was when he chased her away. But he did that only to protect her. If she had known earlier that there was no suitable heart, even if she had to die, she would have been willing to exchange her life for his. How was she going to live alone in the future? Shi Jintian sat on the ground, hugged the tombstone, and kowtowed to it. Tears fell drop by drop. What fell was his heart's blood. He had read every letter that Unwu had written to Yi Er, every sentence. According to his grandson's request and time, he had sent the letters from America one by one. He still remembered that his grandson had snuggled in his arms and quietly talked to him for the entire night. In this life, Unwu had never said so much. Ever since he changed his heart at the age of 8, he had never said so much. Grandpa, let me tell you. Back then, I went there to draw because I wanted to see Yi Er. Sigh, at that time, I didn't know that feeling was like. I was so slow, too slow. I've seen many of her expressions. Happy, sad, sly, disappointed, hopeless, hopeful. In short, I've seen many of them. Grandpa, I didn't know that being able to see a person's emotions was because of excessive attention, and excessive attention was because I liked her too much. I liked her too much. Grandpa, in the past 20 years, the happiest time of my life was when I was drawing on that street, and when I came back from the grasslands, I wrote her cards and sent her flowers every day. Sigh, I still remember that she pitied me and thought that I was a poor artist who couldn't afford the rent. She gave me the money to pay the rent so that I could live a better life. She said that boys mature later and can still grow up at 18 to 19 years old. Sigh, she didn't even know my name back then, and she actually gave me money randomly. Grandpa, since I was young, you taught me to be wary of people and not to trust anyone casually because anyone around you could harm you. But at that time, I really believed her. I believed that she was a kind girl and that she wasn't sent by my enemies to harm me. She was purely afraid that I would suffer. Grandpa, I really believed that she was actually very kind. I'm thinking that at that time, she probably liked me a little because I felt that she wasn't someone who was very compassionate. She was actually very greedy and stingy. Grandpa, I think that at that time, she probably liked me a little, right? That day, Shi Jintian had been holding Unwu in his arms the whole time. Unwu was lying on his chest, and the clothes on his chest were extremely wet and sticky. All that was left were Yunwu's tears. He hugged Yunwu's head and said, "Good grandson, Grandpa believes that Yi Er liked you back then. It's just that at that time, you guys didn't understand." Unwu sighed softly and said, "Sigh, luckily I didn't understand." Luckily, the old man hugging the tombstone sat there until sunset. Then he slowly looked up and said, and you should learn to manage the business. Don't forget that your surname is also Shi. And nodded heavily. Okay. The setting sun stretched the silhouettes of the old man and the young girl in the cemetery, cutting into a lonely silhouette. The late autumn maple leaves in Haicheng were like fire. The pure white wedding gown trailed on the maple leaves, and the colors were distinct. Hearing the photographer skillfully teasing the model, the man wrapped his arms around the woman's waist and carried her up. Their smiles followed the click-click sound of the shutter. They ran. Yi Er had her wish fulfilled and had her wedding photo shoot taken. From time to time, she would run over to the photographer to take a look at the photos in his camera. The photographer looked at the photos on the camera screen with satisfaction and zoomed in. Don't look anymore. She's definitely more compatible and beautiful than a professional model. Yi Er blushed for a moment and turned to look at Jiang Zhao. His suit hugged his muscular body and his handsome face. Needless to say, he looked very attractive and annoying. Jiang Zhao's gaze landed softly on the woman. How much longer do you want to take? What do you mean by how much longer do I want to take? Don't you want to take photos with me? Are you annoyed with me again? How long have we been married? You're already annoyed with me, aren't you? I just want to take a wedding photo shoot, and you're already annoyed with me, aren't you? Then how are we going to survive for the next few decades? Jiang Zhao stared blankly at the woman who was looking at him with her hands on her hips. In the end, he hugged her waist and kissed her on the cheek. The smell of affection was so overwhelming. I think the night view in Haicheng is not bad. Why don't we take a night shot? Dawn is not bad either. Why don't we take a dawn shot? Tomorrow's weather might be better than today's. Why don't we go overseas and take a photo shoot? It'll be fresh. Anyway, we can just continue with the shoot. Yi Er's legs went weak. Was this man trying to torture her to death? She turned to look at the photographer. Sir, are we done with this group? Yes, this is the last group. Then hurry up and finish it. My mouth is stiff from smiling. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but laugh. Everyone in the Qin family was preparing to go to Jiangzhou, which was also a bustling city in the east. This time, they were going to hold the wedding ceremony for Yi Er and Jiang Zhao. Old Master Jiang urged them again and again, but Jiang Zhao kept finding excuses and reasons. It wasn't that he didn't want to go back for the wedding, but he had to remove the barrier in Yi Er's heart before he could go back. On the private jet, Qin Fian was flipping through the newspaper. He didn't seem very happy. Instead, he kept complaining, "What kind of date is this?" He knew that I was going on a business trip at this time, yet he chose to hold the wedding at this time. What the hell? Jiang Zhao couldn't be bothered with him. He hugged Yi Er like he was about to be the groom. When they first got married at the Qin family's banquet, he didn't feel this way at all. At that time, his heart was burping. Fei Yu was holding a novel and reading it quietly. After Qin Fian said this, she gently picked up the fruit tea on the table and took a sip. "Brother, is your sweetheart in Xingzhou town?" "What? Don't you always go to Xingzhou town at this time of the year? What nonsense are you talking about?" Qin Fian opened the newspaper again and read it leisurely. Fei Yu placed the fruit tea on the table. Her black hair was like satin, and she was wearing a white round-neck t-shirt. She didn't look fancy at all, but when paired with her quiet and beautiful face, it made people feel comfortable no matter how they looked at it. A young girl's lips always had a seductive shade of pink. When she licked her lips, the light on them was like jelly. She smiled gently and hugged the book to her chest. She took a deep breath and looked at Qin Fian's face that was covered by the newspaper. "I'm not talking nonsense. There's no plane from High City to Starfield Town. Brother, you drive there every time. I'm not stupid. The toll in your drawer has never stopped, and you only keep the toll receipts to Starfield Town. Isn't it because you want to commemorate something?" Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 726. Qin. Fei. You. Qin Fian threw the newspaper aside and stood up to grab Fei Yu. "You damn thing, how dare you rummage through my drawer?" Fei Yu jumped up and ran towards Jiang Zhao. Yi Er quickly got out of Jiang Zhao's arms and hid in Jiang Zhao's embrace. Jiang Zhao circled Fei Yu and glared at Qin Fian. "How old are you? Do you still want to hit Fei Yu in front of so many people?" As soon as he said that, Qin Rongfang's face darkened. He sat on the wide seat and slapped the armrest. "How dare you hit your sister? Try touching a single strand of her hair. If you dare to touch a single strand of her hair, I'll throw you out of the plane today." Qin Fian felt wronged. What was going on? It was clearly not his fault. That little girl had a pure appearance and actually did things like peeping into his privacy. Now these people were actually helping her. This was too much. With Jiang Zhao's protection, Fei Yu sat on Jiang Zhao's lap and did not get off. She hugged Jiang Zhao's neck and looked at Qin Fian with a little grievance. "Brother's words are really interesting. You've rummaged through my drawer a lot and peeked at the love letters other boys wrote to me. I was just returning the favor." Qin Fian saw that Fei Yu had found a backer. Now he recognized the girl's true nature. "Good for you, Qin Fei Yu. If I hadn't dealt with those crooked things of yours, would your grades be so good now? That's really funny. Boys chasing me is crooked? Then is it proper for you to like men?" Great, this fire burned Qin Fian again. Especially at Jiang Zhao's wedding, how could Qin Rongfang not be anxious? "Qin Fian. You still have the face to talk about your sister. Go sit in your own seat. Qin Fian looked around. Some people were smiling at him maliciously. Why did they feel like they had fallen into a trap? Just as he sat down and prepared to ignore the outside world and focus on reading the tabloids, Fei Yu's gentle and soft young girl's voice faintly drifted over. I don't know if Big Brother wants to buy land in Starfield Town. Looking at the toll receipts, there are at least dozens of them. He goes there at least a few times a year. What kind of big project is that? Why hasn't it been settled yet? Qin Fian shook open the newspaper and said indifferently, Qin Feiyu, be careful. There will be snakes all over the floor when you sleep tonight. Fei Yu was so scared that his face turned white. He was so scared that tears came out of his eyes. Hearing Fei Yu's frightened voice, Qin Fian had just chuckled twice when his calf was suddenly hit by a stick. Seeing that it was Qin Rongfang walking over, he picked up the stick and hit his leg. You clearly know that your sister is timid, yet you still scare her. If you scare her again, she'll be afraid of strangers in the future. She's timid? Come on. I can't see that at all. Bam. Another hit. Although it wasn't heavy, it still represented Qin Rongfang's attitude. Yi Er took out a handkerchief to wipe Fei Yu's tears. It's okay, it's okay. Your brother is just scaring you. He wouldn't do such a thing. Thinking of the house full of snakes, Fei Yu was so immersed that goosebumps appeared all over her body. Zhao Gij and Sister Yun are the best. My brother is a bastard. This group of people was Jiang Zhao, Yi Er, Qin Fian, Fei Yu and Qin Rongfang. Other than the servants, there were a total of 5 people. Because the others had not arranged things properly, they were a step late. It was quite lively along the way. At the airport exit. The first time Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's younger brother, Jiang Feng, he was shocked by his enthusiasm. He was 186 centimeters tall. Although he was dressed fashionably, he was definitely not childish. His buzz-cut hair gave him a unique personality. The smile on his handsome face was always a little mischievous. When he opened his arms to hug them, it was as if there was a burst of youth burning in him. Jiang Feng had only returned to the country for less than a month. Yi Er thought that handsome men were used to being unrestrained overseas. But later on, Jiang Zhao told her that Jiang Feng had always been like this. Only then did Yi Er understand the saying, the dragon has 9 sons, each with his own merits. His uncle's son, Jiang Rui, who was the eldest son of the Jiang family, brought his wife and son Jiang Mian to the airport to pick them up. Yi Er carried Dianmian in his arms. Sister, Dianmian is pressing down again. Don't carry him. Let him walk on his own. Once this bad boy touches a beauty, he refuses to get off the bed. He's so annoying. I'm not annoying. Little Dianmian is so cute. Auntie is so cute. Dianmian cupped Yi Er's face with his chubby hands and kissed him. Gosh, sister, look at how passionate Dianmian is. Jiang Zhao leaned over to Yi Er's ear. Honey, don't be envious. If we work harder in bed at night, we can make one too. Yi Er's face flushed red as though it was on fire. Jiang Zhao had his own house in Jiang district. He had told Jiang Feng in advance to help him get someone to tidy it up. Hence, the Qin family stayed in Jiang Zhao's small villa instead of staying in a hotel. It was very lively. Usually, even in Haicheng, it was impossible for a family to stay in one house like this. Qin Rongfang was very happy. On the first day, the Qin family and the Qin family had dinner together. They almost stayed up all night because men always had endless things to talk about. It was the same on the second day. On the third day, they felt that it was too boring. That night, Yi Er and Fei Yu both wanted to go to the beach to play. They didn't want to trouble Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian, so they discussed with Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian that they would drive there. Qin Rongfang wasn't interested in the beach. Moreover, his schedule was very fixed. He didn't want to go with the youngsters. The waves crashed against the rocks. Wave after wave, they retreated and came back again. Fei Yu pulled Yi Er and asked, "Why is there no barbecue at the beach? Where did you see that there must be barbecue at the beach?" Fei Yu was a little disappointed. "I saw it on the internet. I thought it would be very interesting." The waves retreated and came back again. Yi Er and Fei Yu looked over. There was a white thing that didn't seem to be retreating. Was it a rock? How could a rock be white? Even a shell couldn't be that big. A person. A dead person. There was actually a dead person lying on the beach. "Brother." Jiang Zhao. Fei Yu and Yi Er took a few steps back and screamed. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian were shocked by the two women's voices. They were originally chatting about some business and the latest situation at a distance from the two women. At this moment, they rushed toward the two women like two arrows. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian didn't seem to be afraid of the dead body. Jiang Zhao moved Yi Er and Fei Yu further away and observed quietly. Another row of waves came and hit the dead body. The waves retreated again. He lifted his trousers with both hands and squatted down. Qin Fian also squatted down. He turned on the flashlight function of his mobile phone and shone it at the dead body lying on the beach. Under the bright light, they could finally see clearly. The white t-shirt was rolled up by the waves, and the waist was exposed. There was a large area of bruises. It looked very thin. Pulling the shirt up a little, the entire back was covered with bruises and bruises caused by heavy blows. The arms, the back of the neck, and the places with wounds had been soaked white and the wounds were swollen. Fei Yu had never seen a dead person before. This was the first time she saw a back covered with bruises. She was so scared that her eyes were about to fall out. Yi Er covered Fei Yu's eyes. Fei Yu couldn't help but look. "Call the police. It's probably a murder." Jiang Zhao shook his head. Qin Fian flipped the body over and curiously put his finger on a face that was also covered with bruises. He put his finger to the nostrils. "Brother, it's still breathing." Hearing this, Fei Yu ran over and bent down to grab Qin Fian's clothes. "Brother, if it's still breathing, hurry and send it to the hospital. If we send it to the police, they'll just do it casually. When the time comes, it'll definitely die. It's not a man to not save someone." Qin Fian tilted his head and glared at Fei Yu. The sea breeze blew Fei Yu's black hair up like a veil floating in the wind. "You haven't learned anything from Grandpa. That's not how you should be a Buddhist. By meddling in other people's business, you're inviting trouble. This is murder. Do you know that it's murder? Look at Grandpa, I'm kind and charitable, but have I ever casually saved someone who was about to be murdered?" Fei Yu tugged at Jiang Zhao again. She was usually very gentle, but now she was anxious. "Brother Zhao, don't you think we should send him to the hospital if it's still breathing? Look at how badly he's injured. If we throw him to the police, what if they don't care because they're afraid of trouble? You're the mayor. You're an official. How can you be as cold-blooded as my brother?" Jiang Zhao's job was different from Qin Fian's after all. He stood up and took out his cell phone. When he made the call, he said, "Let's send him to the hospital and then call the police. Besides, I was the one who called the police. If he's breathing, we have to think of a way to save him. I'll give brother a call. He has a comrade named Lu Zheng." Qin Fian stood up and laughed. The key is that we can use brother's name to get a discount or renege on the debt." Jiang Zhao rolled his eyes at Qin Fian. "You don't have to constantly remind me that you're an unscrupulous businessman." Although Fei Yu wanted to save him, she didn't dare to go over and take a look. She just held Yi Er's hand and was still a little scared. It didn't affect anything because of the rescue. After the patient was sent to the hospital, no one cared about him anymore. The Jiang family's second grandson was getting married. Old Master Jiang personally made a phone call and held a banquet. The Jiang family was a famous family in the East. They had a strong political background and strong commercial capital. Old Master Jiang was highly respected in the entire East. Those who could be invited by him were naturally important figures. For a time, all the important figures in the East gathered in Jiang district. Those who didn't receive an invitation but only heard the news also came uninvited. The five-star hotel under Jiang Zhao's name had already emptied all the rooms near the hotel for a week when Jiang Zhao decided to hold the banquet. They didn't accept any reservations and made proper arrangements for all the guests. Everything was taken care of. On the contrary, Jiang Zhao and Yi Er had nothing to do other than trying on their own gowns. Jiang Zhao and Xiang Wan were drinking tea and letting Xiang Wan take Yi Er out shopping. "How is it? Brother is very generous this time, isn't he? I won't take a single cent from you." Jiang Zhao didn't thank him. Instead, he became even more aggressive. "Hey! But you still have to give me a red packet." "Red packet? Last time when you held your engagement in Haicheng, I gave you a big red packet. A bank card worth 1 million yuan. This fellow wants to snatch my money again? You said it's an engagement. This time, it's my wedding. Isn't it still a wedding?" Jiang Zhao sipped his tea lazily and explained slowly, "There are silver weddings and golden weddings. An engagement and a grand wedding are different." "Why?" "Eldest young master, you're the famous eldest young master in Jiang district. How can you bear to give your younger brother a red packet?" Jiang Rui smiled coquettishly. "Eldest young master is called by others, not by family members. It has nothing to do with you. So, I don't have money, but I can give you my life." Ad Hongcha 866. Chapter 727. Jiang Zhao leaned over, but there was no one around. Still, he deliberately looked around. "Brother, I remember very clearly what you gave Su Ling in the past and where you went to eat. Also, I remember that because Su Ling liked the lake crabs in High City, you called me early and asked me to order them, keep them in ice, and fly them over to you from High City as soon as possible." Jiang Zhao sighed. "Although I know that you and sister-in-law are in love now, look at how bored she is. I'm bored too. I really want to chat with her. Sister-in-law trusts you. She definitely won't let her imagination run wild. Just treat it as if nothing happened and talk about the past to relieve her boredom." Jiang Zhao glared at Jiang Rui. "Why are you so insidious? Aren't you afraid of retribution for doing something so immoral on your wedding day?" Jiang retorted. Jiang Zhao shrugged. "Anyway, it won't kill you. Look at you. It's as if you want to eat me." Jiang Rui said, "It's 100,000 this time. It's a dream if you want another million. Brother, there's a policy in High City recently. It's about hotels. It's a support for 7-star hotels." Jiang Zhao paused. Jiang Rui spat at Jiang Zhao. "Vampire. 1 million. Deal. Thanks, brother. I'm going to pick up my wife. Enjoy your tea." Jiang Zhao stood up happily. He didn't care about Jiang Rui's 1 million red packet. For him, 1 million was just a number. It was mainly because he missed the fun of fighting with Jiang Rui since childhood. He looked forward to Jiang Rui coming back to bite him in 2 days. Then, he would fight back. Just thinking about it made him happy. When Jiang Zhao walked out and closed the door, Jiang Rui held the teacup and laughed. 2 days later, Jiang Zhao received a call from Lu Zheng, informing him that the patient had woken up. However, he refused to speak when questioned by the police. There was no problem with his vocal cords, so the police wanted him to go over and ask him in detail about the situation. Jiang Zhao and Yi Er were very busy. Tomorrow was the wedding banquet. Although they had nothing to do, just the things they had to prepare were enough to give them a headache. Therefore, Qin Fian brought Fei Yu to Lu Zheng's hospital. The condition of the ward was very good. As Jiang Zhao was the one who informed him that he had to think of a way to save the patient, he might be useful to Jiang Zhao's political future in the future. Therefore, Lu Zheng arranged for a high-class VIP ward. The boy looked to be around 17 to 18 years old. He was wearing a hospital gown. He was clearly the victim, and there were bruises on his face. His hair was messy, but he didn't look disheveled at all. Instead, he had an indescribable air of nobility. He propped himself up with a pillow behind him and stared coldly at the wall. The bruises on his face were greenish with a tinge of yellow, but they were almost gone. Qin Fian and Fei Yu propped themselves up on stools and sat at the end of the bed. The policeman held a pen and asked when the parties involved were awake. "Mr. Qin, what was the situation when you discovered the victim?" "We were walking by the beach. It was my sister and sister-in-law who discovered him first." "Please describe the situation in detail." "It was the same as what I told you the last time. He was lying on the beach with many injuries on his body. At that time, we wanted to call the police because we were worried that someone might have murdered him. But you didn't call the police immediately." "Heh." Qin Fian looked at the serious policeman in amusement. "How boring. What was he doing here?" He was asking meaningless questions. He asked the same questions the last time, and now he was asking again. "My sister said that she was still angry and wanted to save him first. She was worried that if we called the police, those who could live would be tortured to death. Therefore, we were more assured that we would pay for sending him to the hospital. My sister said that we couldn't leave him in the lurch." The policeman's expression changed. Fei Yu tugged at the corner of Qin Fian's clothes and said timidly, "Brother, if you say that, what if they take revenge on me? After all, we're in Jiang district and we're not familiar with the place. With the old master of the Jiang family and the eldest young master of Jiang district backing you up, what are you afraid of? Although we're only in-laws with the Jiang family, we're still legal citizens. We've done a good deed. Why should we be afraid of the police's revenge? Fei Yu, you shouldn't think of the police like that." After Qin Fian finished speaking, he raised his eyebrows and glanced at the policeman who was about to explode. Sure enough, when he heard that he was in-laws with the Jiang family, the policeman immediately became quiet. When he took the statement, the seriousness on his face lessened. "Mr. Qin is right. How is that possible?" Fei Yu said, "Oh." Then he leaned closer to Qin Fian. After the incident on the plane, Qin Fian wanted to pinch Fei Yu. This guy was really a tyrant at home. Once he was outside, he was afraid of strangers. Now he knew that his brother was reliable. Heartless little thing. The policeman looked at the boy who was sitting there motionlessly. "The injuries on your body were found to be caused by a blunt object. Do you still remember the scene at that time?" The boy didn't turn to look at the policeman. Instead, he stared at the wall and looked at Fei Yu. Although his eyes were as cold as before, they didn't blink. Fei Yu kept leaning on Qin Fian's side. But no matter what the policeman said, the boy sitting on the bed didn't speak. "Where are you from? What's your name? Who's in your family? What a headache. You don't even say a word. Where should I send you? Should I send you to the reception center?" Fei Yu raised his head at this time. The boy's gaze softened, revealing an undisguised sadness and pity. His eyes lowered as if he was begging. The boy's hand that was currently on an 4-drip was placed on the thin blanket, his 10 fingers slender and beautiful. The contours of his face looked like they had been carved and scraped by a thin razor. If it weren't for the bruises on his face, how beautiful would he be? Fei Yu swallowed. "Brother, why don't we take him back? It's not like there's one more person to eat anyway, right? He's also homeless. When he remembers, we'll find the police." The policeman immediately wanted to throw away a burden. "That's the best, the best." Qin Fian stood up. "No." He took Fei Yu's hand and said coldly to the policeman, "We've already told you everything we know. Let's go." Fei Yu was dragged out by Qin Fian. When they reached the corridor, Qin Fian scolded Fei Yu. "What's wrong with your brain? What kind of person is he? How dangerous is he? He was murdered." "Murdered, do you understand?" Put away that little sympathy of yours that you're showing at any time. When the time comes, you'll cause a lot of trouble for yourself. Fei Yu said. Fei Yu curled her lips and left reluctantly with Qin Fei Yu. The next morning, it was only 5:00, but the old house of the Jiang family was already busy. A wedding was always grander than an engagement. Moreover, in order to show that his wedding was better than Qin Rongfang's, Master Jiang used all means. Jiang Rui was mature, steady, and thoughtful. Everything that was assigned to him was done very well. Qin Rongfang said disdainfully, "It's just that the Qin family doesn't run a hotel." What's the big deal? Translator, WQL editor, Ali. Master Jiang put on his neat military uniform and hung his Medal of Honor on his chest. Straightening his back, he looked at himself in the mirror and felt very proud. Although the military uniform looked a bit big, his back was straight and majestic. Qin Rongfang sat on the sofa behind Master Jiang. The button-down shirt he wore today was dark red. He had silver hair and snow-white eyebrows, which looked very festive. He sneered disdainfully. What's the big deal? Didn't you just fight when you were young? You only know how to hold on to the past and take advantage of your seniority. Old Master Jiang was so happy that his eyebrows flew up. Aya, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. My Ruerue is not very promising. He only owns about 100 hotels in the country, and he even has a small company that earns some money a year. What's the big deal? But the people from the famous families in Jiangzhou have to call him young master when they see him. Some people who are older than him have to call him that. Oh, it's really not a big deal. Our Zhao Zhao is not a big deal either. He became the mayor at a young age. In the future, he entered the provincial party committee and the central government. Oh, the position of the Jiang family in the east can't be more stable. When Qin Rongfang heard Master Jiang talking about Jiang Zhao, he was so anxious that he stood up and said loudly, "Zhao Zhao was brought up by me. It has nothing to do with you. His surname is Zero Jiang. I can't help it. I really can't do you a favor. The Jiang family has a family tree. If Zhao Zhao has a child in the future, his surname will be Zero Jiang. Do you know that?" Qin Rongfang was so anxious that he was trembling. This old fart only knew how to use this matter to rebuke him. Old Master Jiang said in a sarcastic tone, "Aya, Fian is amazing. She can compete with our family's Ruerue in business. She looks pretty, but her methods are like a wolf's." In the future, the Qin family's business status in Haiqing goes without saying. As for this, I can't help but admire them. But at the end of the day, they don't touch women. As Chinese, we still pay attention to our roots. Only Xiao is like this. Why do you want to marry Fei Yu to the Pei family in the south? You should have kept Fei Yu as a grandson-in-law. At least leave him with the surname Qin. Qin Rongfang was directly angered by Master Jiang on the big day. His eyes rolled back and he was about to fall back. Master Jiang's expression changed. He hurriedly strode over and supported Qin Rongfang's back. Looking at Qin Rongfang's trembling lips, he slowly laid him flat on the sofa. Although he was old, Qin Rongfang's body was very light. Thinking that everyone was old, Master Jiang's heart ached. Old Qin. Old Qin. I was just joking, old Qin. Qin Rongfang's breathing was uneven. You old fart, you want to anger me to death. Master Jiang was so regretful that his intestines turned green. They had been old friends for decades, but he was always poking at each other's shortcomings. At home, he taught his descendants to be open-minded. Why couldn't he do it when it came to Qin Rongfang? Old Qin, I was just joking. We've been fighting for so many years. When have we not been like this? I'll call the doctor right away. Don't call me. My Qin family has no descendants. I don't want to live. Call the doctor. I don't want treatment. Qin Rongfang slowly closed his eyes. Tears fell from Master Jiang's eyes. Old Qin, don't think too much. I told Zhao Zhao's child to be born with the surname Qin. You were the one who raised Zhao Zhao, so I shouldn't steal your credit. The first child born with Zhao Zhao should have the surname Qin after you. It should be surnamed Qin. It's all thanks to you. I don't believe you. You, old fox. I don't believe you. I won't cooperate with the doctor. Little Lu. Little Lu. Master Jiang quickly called Mama Lu. She hurriedly called Mama Lu over. Go, go, go. Go find Zhao Zhao. Mama Lu immediately turned around and ran to find Jiang Zhao. Yi Er had just been picked up by the makeup artist and sent to Jiang Zhao's villa. They were about to go through the process of picking up the bride. When he heard that Qin Rongfang had collapsed, Jiang Zhao threw away the tie in his hand and ran to Master Jiang's room. Old Madam was busy in the backyard and didn't know anything. Welfare, Hongcha 866. Chapter 728. The moment Jiang Zhao entered the old master's room, he saw the old man lying on the sofa. His grandfather was wiping his tears. Jiang Zhao's heart trembled. Grandpa. The sound of irritable leather shoes stomping on the wooden floor could be heard. When old Master Jiang saw Jiang Zhao running over, he seized the opportunity and said in a trembling voice, Zhao Zhao, let me tell you. Your first child with Yi Er will have the surname Qin. Quickly agree to your grandfather's request. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Tell me, he's already so old. How can he withstand anger? Quickly agree to his request. Otherwise, he won't go to the hospital. This can't be delayed. Jiang Zhao did not allow for any explanation and immediately nodded, okay, okay, okay. Grandpa, if your surname is Qin, then it's Qin. Let's go to the hospital, let's go to the hospital. Qin Rongfang's weak eyelids opened a little more and looked at old Master Jiang. Old fart, do you mean what you said? Of course, of course. If I don't, then all the grandsons of the Jiang family are cowards. Is that okay? This was something that old Master Jiang was proud of. The fact that he could use it to make a bet meant that he would never go back on his word. Who would have thought that Qin Rongfang's listless eyes would suddenly become full of vigor in front of everyone's eyes? Then, he slowly sat up and patted his clothes. Since we've already agreed, then let's get ready. Although there are many people today, we can't make any trouble. Old Master Jiang, Jiang Zhao, and the servants who had rushed over in a panic were dumbfounded and confused. What did it mean to be disrespectful as an old man? This was it. Old Master Jiang was so angry that his face turned green. He stood up and pointed at Qin Rongfang, who was still sitting there leisurely. He almost vomited blood. Qin Rongfang. You old fart, you're disrespectful as an old man. Qin Rongfang's face was glowing. He stood up slowly and smiled gracefully. He grabbed old Master Jiang's hand and said with emotion, Old Jiang, you're so literary. The idiom, disrespectful as an old man, is engraved on my forehead. But there's also an idiom that all's fair in war. Didn't you used to fight in the army? Those badges on your chest must have been bought from a street stall. Alas, Master Jiang was so angry that he waved Qin Rongfang's hand away in disgust. You old B*****starred, how dare you set me up? Qin Rongfang laughed heartily. He was much more energetic than the average old man. Jiang Zhao finally understood. Could it be that these two old men had just put on a wonderful show together? It didn't matter to him who the child took the surname of. Then let's go have breakfast together. Jiang Zhao breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was just a joke. If something had really happened to his grandfather's body, he would have made a mess today. Grandfather? Qin Rongfang pulled Jiang Zhao and walked out. Good grandson, let's go and eat. Ignore him. He's throwing a tantrum. He's already so old and he doesn't care about his image at all. Old Master Jiang followed them and pulled Qin Rongfang and Jiang Zhao's hands away. He shouted, "Qin! You tell me. Who doesn't care about their image? Who didn't care about their image just now?" Jiang Zhao had one head and two heads. These two people had never had enough of messing around in their lives. Every time they met, they would quarrel. It was really annoying. Jiang Zhao sighed and bowed deeply to the two old men. His words were sincere and pitiful. "Two ancestors, your grandsons are getting married today. Can you be magnanimous and do us the honor of having a peaceful meal together?" Old Master Jiang snorted. When he passed by Zhao Zhao, he said, "I'll find a woman to rape Fian. If Fian has a child, I won't allow Zhao Zhao's child to take the surname Qin." He thought that Qin Rongfang would refute, but he reached out and hugged Old Master Jiang's arm. He laughed and flattered him. "Then I'll leave it to you, old brother." Old Master Jiang's face darkened, and he glared at Jiang Zhao. "You do this?" "Ah." Jiang Zhao was speechless. "Today is my wedding. Do these two people have to do this to me?" "Grandpa, Sijia has already boarded the plane with Mom and Dad. Have you arranged for someone to pick them up?" It's been arranged. "Really, what's keeping you so busy?" Jiang Zhao smiled. Sister Zhen said that she was taking Sijia on a trip. Brother Lai Qing followed them for their honeymoon. How could he be free? According to the old tradition, they had to snatch the bride. The bridegroom's motorcade was mighty and powerful. Not only was the team powerful, but they were also all luxury cars. Jiang Zhao wanted to keep a low profile and also planned to keep a low profile. After all, his background was in high city. However, as soon as Jiang Rui waved his arm, his friends all joined the team to pick up the bride. The domineering black luxury cars formed a line and moved forward on the city road next to each other. The awesome luxury cars showed off their prowess, and the awesome license plates dazzled everyone. The drivers were either handsome men or beautiful women. They were either dignified or sloppy. Wow, it's so eye-catching. I'm afraid that all the handsome men and beauties in Jiang District are in this motorcade, right? That's right. Young Master's younger brother is getting married. Who doesn't give face to him? Oh, it's a pity that I can't eat it. It's so uncomfortable. Jiang Zhao's wedding in high city was considered an engagement. He didn't have enough preparation. At this time, he finally tasted the vanity that he only had when he got married. Haha. I finally got married. Just as he was thinking happily, his phone rang. Bridesmaid? Yes, the bridesmaid arrived at Xia Qian in the middle of the night. Hello, Qian Qian. Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao. What's wrong? No, I'm afraid that this wedding won't happen. Xia Qian. If you dare to speak nonsense today, I won't give your brother-in-law any face. He was furious. This Xia Qian was really stupid. It was his wedding day, and she was making a fuss about not getting married? No, we really can't get married. Get lost. Jiang Zhao was really angry. He put the phone away and pressed the button to hang up. After 2 seconds, the phone rang again. The veins on Jiang Zhao's forehead were throbbing. As the best man, Qin Fian nudged Jiang Zhao. Brother, answer it. Jiang Zhao picked up. Xia Qian. I'll change you immediately. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er can't take it anymore. She's vomiting on the bed and can't get up. She can't even drink water now. Her throat is bleeding. What should we do? Jiang Zhao tightened his grip on the phone. He anxiously tugged at his bow tie and said to the driver, Don't set up a formation. Stick it in when you see a gap. Hurry up. He turned around and asked Xia Qian impatiently, What did you say? She's vomiting so badly? Xia Qian was so anxious that she stomped her feet. It's true. Her face is white. I said to send her to the hospital, and they said to feed her some saline and positive energy solution. It's probably because there are too many people in the house. They said it's not auspicious to send her to the hospital. What should we do? Jiang Zhao slammed his large palm on the dashboard in front of him. Why are you so stupid? Of course we should send her to the hospital. But I've never been married. Why should I be worried about auspiciousness? I don't know. Those people seem to be very experienced. I. Jiang Zhao called his grandfather. When the traffic light turned green, he wanted to open the car door and leave. He was so anxious that his insides were on fire. Grandpa, hurry up and call a few of the old maids at home and send Yi-er to the hospital. She's already vomiting. Who cares if it's auspicious or not? Grandpa Lu held the phone and immediately comforted him. Zhao Zhao, don't be anxious. Grandpa will call the doctors here. Don't be anxious. You're already an adult. Jiang Zhao kept urging the driver to hurry up and complained, how can I not be anxious? This is my wife, not someone else's wife. If it were someone else's wife, I wouldn't be anxious either. Grandpa Lu was still angry in the morning. When he heard his usually filial grandson talking incoherently, he suppressed his anger. Okay. Grandpa will call the military vehicles to send the alarm over. It'll be quick. Grandpa will hang up now. Yi-er got up very early that day. Grandma Lu reminded her to get up early as she would be very tired. She wanted to prepare some food for the newlyweds. She looked at the glutinous rice balls, dumplings, wontons, porridge, bread, and cakes. She didn't want to eat any of them. Nanny Lu kept persuading her not to eat. She would be too tired if she didn't eat. The last time Jiang Rui got married, Xiang Wan was already exhausted. Yi-er ate some porridge and didn't want to eat any dishes. She endured it when she was putting on makeup. She endured it when she was in the car. When they arrived at Jiang Zhao's villa, she endured it when Nanny Lu talked about the rules of Jiang district. In the end, she couldn't stand it anymore. She vomited all the food. She vomited so much that her throat seemed to have grown something. She couldn't spit anything out. Even swallowing her saliva hurt her throat. When Jiang Zhao arrived, the doctor was measuring Yi-er's blood pressure. Yi-er was so weak that her legs felt like jelly. Nanny Lu said that she would be so tired that she would feel weak. However, she didn't expect that she would feel weak even before they officially started. Jiang Zhao pushed the doctor away and carried Yi-er, who had already put on the wedding veil. Let's go to the hospital. Put her down. The doctor immediately stopped him. Jiang Zhao could only put Yi-er on the bed. The doctor asked carefully. What did you eat this morning? Porridge. When Yi-er thought of porridge, she began to retch again. She vomited so much that her eyes rolled back. At this time, there was nothing left to vomit. The pain in her throat was unbearable. She vomited until it tore and some blood streaks came out. Jiang Zhao looked at his grandfather's doctor, who was so calm. He could only anxiously look for water or tissues. There was nothing he could do. Xia Qian asked everyone to leave the room. She wanted to get some fresh air. Jiang Zhao and Yi-er had eaten together in the morning. The food in the Jiang family couldn't be unclean. Everyone was fine. He frowned and said to the doctor, everyone ate together. She's the only one who vomited. It can't be that the food is unclean. It's more important to go to the hospital. Let's do a urine test. The doctor said abruptly. Huh? Jiang Zhao said. Huh? Yi-er pressed on her sore throat. Urine test? Xia Qian asked. Urine test? Qin Fian followed. Yes. What if it's a pregnancy reaction? Yi-er's face was a little red. The old doctor was a man, so he was a little embarrassed. He wanted to say something, but his throat was too painful from vomiting too many times. When he spoke, his ears hurt. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi-er was anxious, so he said, it's impossible. She's on time. Her period will come the day after tomorrow. Qin Fian looked at Jiang Zhao meaningfully. Yi Er's face turned even redder. There were so many people. But he had been keeping track of her safe period so that he didn't bring a condom when he did it. The doctor shook his head. Some pregnant women will have a violent reaction when they're in bed. Which one of you can go and buy a pregnancy test? Xia Qian answered even faster than Jiang Zhao. She was even excited. I'll go, I'll go, I'll go. Then she ran out. Xia Qian had always been fast and efficient, but when she came back, everyone felt that her condition hadn't improved. In a small plastic bag, there was a bag of test papers. There were 2 or 3 test papers of each brand. She said, "There's bound to be one that's not fake. There's bound to be one that's accurate. It'll definitely tell that she's pregnant." It was so shocking. Jiang Zhao didn't think there was a need for a test. He remembered that there was medicine in Yi Er's drawer. In order to prevent her from taking it, he was careful and took precautions. It was impossible for her to be pregnant. Sending her to the hospital was the most important thing. But he couldn't stop the doctor. It wasn't until Yi Er came out of the bathroom with a 2-bar test strip and showed it to the doctor that Jiang Zhao felt his ears buzzing. Xia Qian hugged Yi Er and shook her. See, I told you. Take the most expensive one. It'll definitely be accurate. The expensive one definitely won't be fake. Everyone looked at her. What kind of logic was that? Jiang Zhao pulled Xia Qian away and placed the pale and weak Yi Er on the bed. He glared at Xia Qian. Why are you shaking her? Look at how weak she is. His heart ached as he touched Yi Er's face. She had vomited so much that she couldn't speak. Let me get you 2 mint candies. Does your throat hurt a lot? Yi Er shook her head. But in her heart, she thought, I'd better slit her throat. Forget it. Even swallowing her saliva hurts. It's better not to eat anything heavy with mint right now. It's very dangerous, the doctor said calmly. Jiang Zhao sat by the bed and watched as his wife rubbed her neck. He knew that she was extremely uncomfortable, but he was still overjoyed by the news that she was pregnant. His hand rested on Yi Er's abdomen. He desperately tried to sense if there was anything beating, but for a moment, he couldn't say a single word of comfort. Hey, Jiang Zhao, are you kicking me to the curb after I've outlived my usefulness? I was the one who bought the authentic test paper. Otherwise, do you think you'd be able to test it? I went to 3 pharmacies, afraid that I'd buy a fake product. Even if I didn't take credit, I still worked hard. I didn't even ask you to give me a big red packet, yet you're still looking at me with such disdain. You. Jiang Zhao's ears hurt from listening to her. Xia Qian, if you talk less, I'll give you a big red packet later. Okay. Xia Qian immediately covered her mouth. For the sake of a red packet, what did it matter if she talked less? Moreover, it was a big red packet. Yi Er insisted on attending the wedding. Jiang Zhao gave everyone a red packet, saying that the bride was pregnant and couldn't make a big fuss. He didn't want to do the bride snatching part of the ceremony. On the wedding stage, the MC understood the situation and only asked the groom questions. The bride stood at the side and nodded meekly or said a few words occasionally. Everyone else thought it was a fly in the ointment, but the groom didn't seem to care. He gently stroked the bride's shoulder and was in a state of surprise and joy. Finally, he held the microphone and couldn't help but laugh wildly. Today, I'll treat everyone to my wedding banquet. In 11 months, I'll treat everyone to my baby's 1-month-old celebration. After a moment of shock, the audience applauded and cheered. Yi Er was wearing a pure white wedding dress. When she lowered her head, the veil covered her cheeks. Her hand was on her belly. She had been able to hold it in, but in this atmosphere, Jiang Zhao's words of happiness and satisfaction made her eyes redden. Tears fell to the ground and seemed to hit her ears with a loud thud. Before it was time for the bride and groom to hug, she threw herself into the man's arms and squeezed her throat hard to suppress the pain. She sobbed with jealousy and said softly, "Ah, Zhao, you're pregnant." You can't not love me. How can I not love you? I'll only love the baby if I love you. The handsome man's eyes were gentle. He held the tearful woman's head and kissed her forehead. Then he said in a low and hoarse voice, unable to hide his emotions, "Silly girl, I'll only love our baby if I love you." Xiaoye, end, dearest, the ending of Xiaoye's story ends here. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 729. Xia Qian was the prettiest and dumbest of the bridesmaids. Qin Fian was the prettiest and most famous of the groomsmen. The worst part was that she didn't let the other bridesmaids drink the wine and drank it all by herself. Her hair covered her forehead, and her hair hung down and wrapped around her face, making her oval-shaped face look a little smaller. She drank until her whole face was red. From time to time, she would stick out her tongue because of the spiciness of the white wine. She would slap her own tongue, looking very cute. But she couldn't speak. Once she spoke, her cuteness would be ruined. Ah, this wine can't be fake, right? Didn't the wine in the advertisement say that it's mellow and fragrant? Why do I feel like there's capsaicin in it? Everyone was speechless. Old Master Zhang's grandson was holding a banquet. Would he buy fake wine? The most famous of the bridesmaids always threw a glance at him, and the others all treated him like a groom and served him. They even swept the wine away for him. The groomsmen's suits were all Armani. Qin Fian had a beautiful and charming face, but the eyes behind his refined glasses were always shining like a fox's. From time to time, he would reach out to push the glasses on his nose and stay far away from the women. He was very good at avoiding alcohol. When it came to greeting, he would immediately pull out the groomsmen behind him. Let me introduce you. This is XX's son, XX. He works in XX's industry. The topic was immediately brought up, and he retreated to the side. For the whole night, unless it was someone he was very close to, he didn't drink a single glass. He was really the most famous groomsman. So when the banquet ended, Xia Qian was like a dead pig, and Qin Fian was the only sober one among the drunk people. Xia Qian always felt that there was a heroic spirit in her bones, just like the chivalrous heroes in Jin Yang's novels. There was a kind of bravery and fierceness when seeing injustice and a hero who hated evil. She couldn't stand Qin Fian's coquettish look. Look at him smiling like that. He was a vixen. He was a good man who was better looking than women. How could those women who skinned their faces and had their eyes and noses done for the sake of their looks endure? Xia Qian had thought about plastic surgery countless times because her nose was not as perky as her sister's and Yi Er's. However, she had only thought about it and did not put it into action. Her sister and Yi Er always said that it was fine and that they looked very comfortable together. After seeing Qin Fian, she felt that her sister and Yi Er were actually giving him too much sympathy in their words of consolation. Qin Fian's appearance was a blow to her self-esteem as a woman, so she often wanted to cut off a part of his face and paste it on her own face. She didn't like him just because he was beautiful. This man was evil. Last time at the swimming pool, he had ruined her reputation. Even a hero should take revenge. Knowing that Qin Fian hated women touching him, Xia Qian was so drunk that she hugged Qin Fian's neck and refused to let go. Jiang Zhao couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't wake Xia Qian up no matter how hard he tried. Qin Fian hated Xia Qian to the core. This woman had bitten him with the same mouth that she had eaten stinky tofu. She had taken off his pants. Now, she was taking advantage of his brother's wedding to get physical with him. There were a few times when he didn't have to look at everyone. He had viciously pinched Xia Qian's waist as if he wanted to pick up a small piece of meat, pinch it a few times, then pull it out of her body and throw it away. Xia Qian was in so much pain that her heart was scratching. She cursed in her heart, "Qin Fian, you bastard." In front of all the guests, Qin Fian made a fool of himself because he couldn't get rid of a drunk woman hanging around his neck. When grandfather Jiang found out that Yi Er was pregnant, he was afraid that Qin Rongfang would steal his great-grandson's surname. Some words, once spoken, couldn't be taken back. Seeing a girl hanging around Qin Fian, grandfather Qin Fian kept persuading him from the side, saying that men should pay attention to their manners and give way to girls. At the very least, he had to give them some basic respect. Moreover, this girl was drinking for Yi Er today. In the end, she didn't do it on purpose. She was quite loyal. Qin Fian was choked to death by grandfather Jiang. If they weren't in the Jiang family's territory and grandfather Jiang hadn't been in front of him, he would have kicked this woman to death. Qin Rongfang saw that grandfather Jiang was very attentive and let him do as he pleased. Other young masters were very strict about their private lives, afraid that they would cause trouble if they went out to play with women with no status. But he was different. Qin Rongfang felt that he was quite not easy. He didn't have any more wishes in this life. As old Jiang said, he just wanted to find a woman to rape his grandson. No matter what the woman's family background was, as long as she could move, get pregnant, and give birth to children, it was fine. Now, he couldn't wait for his grandson to go out and mess around. So be it. As long as he didn't continue to mess around with men, it was fine. Fian, Xiao Xia is also drinking for Yi Er. Your brother is really tired from taking care of your sister-in-law today. You are his brother, so please bear with him. Send Xiao Xia back to the hotel. Qin Fian kept raising his neck in disgust, afraid that his chin would touch Xia Qian's head. Her sister is here. Jiang Zhao had already asked someone to send Yi Er back. He was here greeting the guests and sending them off. Seeing Fian's sorry state and hearing grandfather's words, he came over and patted Qin Fian's shoulder. I said that we're not going to mess around with the bridal chamber today. Xiaoye and Yichen have already gone out to play. Send them off. Qian doesn't know anyone else. Just send her off on account that she is your sister-in-law's good friend. Qin Fian was speechless. Don't the Jiang family have servants? Why are you asking me to send her off? Qin Rongfang stood in the same place. Just send her off. If you don't send this girl off, who will? Who isn't busy today? You're so free. Why can't you help your brother send the guests off? What kind of brother are you? Jiang Zhao had become a father. He was grinning all the time. In such a mood, he really didn't have any intention of scolding others. Fian, grandfather is right. Help me send her off. Look how long this girl has been hanging on you. She won't budge no matter how hard she tries. Are you going to sleep here? Although Xia Qian knew that she had to discuss Qin Fian, she just hung on his neck for the sake of hanging on. She didn't have much consciousness. After all, she had drunk too much. When Qin Fian got her into the car, she collapsed in the back like a dead pig. When Qin Fian got out of the car, he immediately called the security guards to pull her away. Xia Qian seemed to have sensed it. She jumped up and pushed open the car door. She staggered to catch up with Qin Fian and hung on him. After hanging up, she wanted to sleep again. Her head was hurting badly. In the end, Qin Fian sent Xia Qian back to the hotel as promised. But the moment the door opened, Xia Qian suddenly felt nauseous. She pulled Qin Fian's shirt and vomited everything she had drunk that night. It was all because of her flirtatious behavior. Who asked a certain someone to like to loosen 3 buttons? Qin Fian only felt a heat in his chest and stomach. Then, there was a terrible stench. His shirt wasn't tucked into his pants. The filth all flowed down his stomach and stained his pants and shoes. Behind the refined glasses, his phoenix eyes were wide open. His piercing gaze was piercing. He wanted to kill someone. Holding his breath, he was about to push the woman away when Xia Qian pulled Qin Fian's shirt again. Wah! Walala, she vomited everything again. Add. Hongcha 866. Chapter 730. Qin Fian's breath collapsed at this moment, but just as he was about to vomit, he suddenly wanted to take revenge. He wanted to pull open the bridesmaid's dress and vomit, only to find that all the bridesmaids today were wearing strapless dresses. What was a strapless dress? It meant that the chest area was tightly covered, or the dress would fall off. Moreover, today's bridesmaids' dresses were custom-made. They were tailor-made, not elastic. They were tight-fitting and had a zipper at the back, so Qin Fian did something that he had never done before in his life. That was when he imitated Xia Qian and pulled open her collar, only to find that it was too tight. He wanted to throw up, so when he got angry, he dug his hands into Xia Qian's chest and pulled hard on her collar. Rip! Rip! The sound of fabric tearing rang out in the quiet corridor. Qin Fian wanted to vomit on Xia Qian's body as he wished when he saw a pair of snow-white breasts in front of him. They weren't big, but they were firm. After he pulled down the bridesmaid's dress, he leisurely slid it down the woman's body. He actually reached his hands so deep that he even tore off her nipples. Qin Fian was stunned. He wanted to vomit, but he couldn't. He saw that Xia Qian was swaying and couldn't stand properly, so he hurriedly turned his face away. However, when he heard the door lock click, he immediately opened Xia Qian's door and leaned it against the magnet. Resisting the urge to vomit, he retreated out of the room and kicked Xia Qian's butt as fast as he could, trying to kick her back into the room. Xia Qian's dress was already torn. At this time, it slid down to her waist. The dress that originally reached her calves was now dragging on the floor. Qin Fian kicked her forward. She fell forward as if she was weightless. Her feet stepped on the fabric. She wasn't used to wearing high heels, so she was pulled and scratched. Finally, she was successfully tripped into the room. With a dull thud, Xia Qian's nose hit the carpet and she landed face first on the floor. Qin Fian grabbed Xia Qian's arm and dragged her in like he was dragging a dead pig. Then, he slammed the door shut. The woman was thrown on the floor. Qin Fian went into the bathroom, threw away his clothes, and took a shower. Outside, she could still hear Qin Fian's voice on the phone. Hurry up. Send it over. Yes, tell him my measurements. Xia Qian woke up, but the first thing that came to her mind was her face. She was half naked, she touched her face. God! My nose isn't high. My nose too's even flatter now. Do I have to be reconstructed? I really have to get plastic surgery this time. Until she heard Qin Fian taking a shower in the bathroom and making a phone call. She was shocked to the point, shocked to find herself naked to the floor to get to her to the floor. She was to the shocked, she screamed to be. She was still sitting by the door, and half of her dress was stuck at the foot of the door. Xia's to wakes to Qin. To it to the. Qin Fian. This beast. That. He was gay, and he wanted to molest her. She tugged at the dress, but it wouldn't budge. She got up and opened the door a little to relieve the pressure on the dress. However, she realized that the dress she pulled in was smelly and dirty. It was disgusting because of the vomit on the floor outside the door. Xia Qian was already feeling nauseous from the alcohol. When she saw the dress in her hands, she couldn't help but vomit. The room, which didn't smell strange, was suddenly filled with a nauseating smell. At the entrance was the hotel's wardrobe. Xia Qian hurriedly opened the wardrobe door. There were clean robes hanging in the wardrobe, one for men and one for women. She shook her head and grabbed the smaller one. Her head cleared a little, but her steps were unsteady. She pinched her nose and stared at the bathroom door with anger. She pressed the door lock and pushed the door open. She was stunned. She was really stunned. Xia Qian asked herself, Xia Qian, have you seen a handsome man come out of the shower? She shook her head and answered herself, no. Xia Qian, have you seen a naked handsome man come out of the shower? She shook her head, no. Xia Qian, have you seen a naked handsome man come out of the shower with well-proportioned muscles and 8-pack abs? She shook her head, no. Xia Qian, Have you seen a naked handsome man come out of the shower with 8-pack abs and skin so fair that it turned pink in the hot water? She shook her head hard. I really haven't, God. Xia Qian, have you ever seen a handsome man who is not only naked, but also wearing nothing under his abs? He's like a black forest, and he even has that magical thing that's thrown right in front of you after he comes out of the shower? She shook her head hard and said bitterly, kill me, I really haven't. So, take a look. So be it if you get a needle eye. It's okay. She nodded, okay, I'll take a look then. Xia Qian swallowed her saliva, almost choking on it. Qin Fian didn't know that Xia Qian had done so many things in such a short time. He only saw her shaking her head and blinking her eyes as if she couldn't see clearly. Then she shook her head again. He turned off the water, grabbed a bath towel, and wrapped himself up. Did you take ecstasy? Or did your brain have a cramp? You're not showering anymore? Xia Qian had already forgotten that her original intention was to get even with Qin Fian. She felt a little regretful. She had never seen a naked man in her life, and the first time she saw him, he gave her such a big meal. He was a perfect combination of fat and thin, and looked delicious. She wondered if he would taste the same when she ate him. Forget about eating, it was a pity that he was gay. She really envied him. However, this man had such a slender and muscular body. His abdominal muscles, arms, and chest were obviously well trained. Why would a little bottom like him need to train such seductive muscles for no reason? But if he was really a top, wouldn't it be a waste to look so small? After seeing Qin Fian's naked body, Xia Qian made a decision to not go against him anymore. Okay. Qin Fian didn't want to say too much to Xia Qian. He was very calm, but his expression betrayed him. He looked like a thin-skinned person who was blushing in embarrassment. Hey, don't be shy. It's not the first time I've seen you. Last time at the swimming pool, didn't I take off your pants? There's nothing strange about it. You can be more generous. Xia Qian swore to the heavens that she said those words to comfort the thin-skinned handsome man. She didn't have any bad intentions. Although she really wanted him to continue looking. Qin Fian had already walked in front of Xia Qian. His face was a little red, and now it was a little dark. If there was any change, it would be that he raised his almond-shaped eyes and smiled. He held the glasses that he used to pretend to be refined, raised his leg, and kicked Xia Qian in the stomach. Xia Qian was kicked out of the door. She staggered back and hit the wall opposite the bathroom door. Ouch! Qin Fian. After crying out in pain, she gritted her teeth and said, God, I think I've been kicked twice today. She watched as Qin Fian retreated into the bathroom and came out after a while. Qin Fian smelled the vomit in the corridor. He gritted his teeth and glanced at Xia Qian. His voice wasn't loud, but it was very harsh. Yes, I kicked both times. The first time I kicked your butt, and the second time I kicked your stomach. How unlucky. I was wearing shoes for the first kick, and I kicked you barefoot for the second. God. Was my head caught in the door just now? I have to find a physiotherapy shop today and peel off the layer of skin on my feet. Qin Fian said as he walked into the room. As he walked, he couldn't believe it and shook his head in annoyance. Xia Qian was really shocked. She remembered that someone had kicked her but just now. At that time, she wasn't very clear-headed, but now she was very clear. She wanted to take revenge, but when she saw Qin Fian's attractive back, she swallowed her saliva shamelessly. She wanted to scold him, but she softened her tone. That's why it said that women are dangerous and sensual. With such a big piece of meat dangling in front of you, you have to have the ability to be calm even if you want to. You're a man. At the very least, you should have the demeanor of a gentleman, right? Qin Fian took his phone and threw it on the bed. He didn't seem to mind that Xia Qian was drooling over his meat, but he was extremely irritated. He sent a text message and urged her to change her clothes. The corner of his mouth lifted, and he sneered, Gentlemen? Is this the first time you found out that I'm gay? Have you seen me being a gentleman to women? Do you think you're a handsome man? Apart from your flat chest, which part of this cement board is comparable to a handsome man? Xia Qian hugged her arms and tightly covered her chest. Qin Fian. You bastard. You'll shine if I give you some sunshine, right? Huh. You're pushing your luck, aren't you? The man said disdainfully, if you have the ability, why don't you show off your chest for everyone to evaluate? Is it like a cement board? Men who train their muscles are more developed than yours, right? Xia Qian felt that she was going crazy. It was true. Although she was still a virgin, she was still a fujoshi. It was impossible for her to be ignorant of everything. What was the difference between attacking a woman's chest and attacking a man's JJ size? It was fine if she was constantly attacked by Yi Er, but now that she was being attacked by a man, the feeling was too different. Xia Qian felt that it was very ungentlemanly to use force against a half-naked handsome man. As a tomboy, she should give in to such a handsome man. Hence, she calmed herself down before walking to Qin Fian's bedside. Qin Fian, how do you know that my chest is not as developed as a muscular man's? Qin Fian had already sent the text message. At this moment, he was shaking the phone in his hand. His two long legs were crossed, shaking his feet. He pursed his lips. I was the one who opened your clothes just now. Didn't you notice that you're naked? God. Luckily, I'm gay and didn't do anything to you. It wasn't a big blow to you. If a man who likes women saw you lying there naked, I'm afraid he would be very gentlemanly and send you home. Xia Qian was wearing a loose robe. She was so angry that she couldn't say a word. Besides her breathing, she couldn't hear anything. In a fit of anger, she pulled open her collar and lowered her head to take a look. Indeed. It was too small. Qin Fian looked at Xia Qian's unrestrained actions. His almond-shaped eyes widened, and he choked and hiccuped. Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian more and more fiercely. Not only did this man kick her butt, but he also kicked her stomach. Awesome novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 731. If he hadn't used his beauty to delay her revenge, she would have beaten him up by now. She had wanted to let him off, but he didn't know what was good for him and insisted on going against her. Not only that, he had actually attacked her in an exaggerated manner. Although it wasn't as big as Yi Er's, it was definitely better than a man with chest muscles. This kind of attack was clearly a bloody sale, a dumping of goods regardless of the cost. Xia Qian rolled up her sleeves and knelt on the bed. Qin Fian, I'm your sister. If I let you off today, my surname won't be Xia anymore. Just you wait, I'm going to explode your orange blossoms today. You shameless homosexual. You're a weakling who deserves to be exploded. Before Xia Qian could put her words into action, the doorbell rang. Qin Fian calmly gestured at Xia Qian with his chin. You dirted my clothes with your vomit just now. Now that the person who delivered the clothes is here, go get them for me. Oh. The corners of Xia Qian's mouth twitched. Did this guy mean that he would punish her first? Then, he would enslave her to do things for him. Only then did she realize that she really did vomit on his clothes. She felt a little sorry and wanted to pay for it. Qin Fian got off the bed and whispered, forget it. You must have touched it. It must be dirty. He walked past her to open the door. The smelly dress at the door made Qin Fian's expression darken. However, he kept reminding himself that this was Jiang District, not High City. Xia Qian was his sister-in-law's friend. If he wanted to mess with her, he had to go back to High City. If word got out that he messed with her in Jiang District, people would say that the Jiang family wasn't very kind. Therefore, Qin Fian endured the stench and went into the bathroom to change his clothes. He didn't even say goodbye to Xia Qian until he left. Just as Qin Fian went into the bathroom to change his clothes silently, a certain idiot had already fallen asleep on the bed. She didn't even cover herself with the blanket. The next morning, when Xia Qian woke up, she suddenly remembered everything that had happened last night. She stood on the bed and jumped up and down, shouting, "Qin Fian! A feud has been formed. Wait and see. Exploding your orange blossoms is my only wish in this life." The day after Yi Er's pregnancy, the Jiang family arranged for her to have an ultrasound to confirm that she was really pregnant. After Yi Er got pregnant, Jiang Zhao's heart. Yi Er was aware of Jiang Zhao's kindness, but she couldn't accept that. Haha. I'm not the one who's pregnant. I'm the one who made my wife pregnant. What do you think? Xiang Wan, who was looking for books for Yi Er, couldn't bear to hear that Jiang Zhao had the upper hand over Jiang Rui. Hence, she said with a smile, it's a woman's ability to have twins. If you don't provide 2 eggs, will your twins fall from the sky? So don't make it sound as if you're so great because Yi Er is pregnant with twins. It's all because Yi Er is great. Jiang Zhao choked at first, but then he laughed. Yes, it's because my wife is capable. Look, I've married such a capable wife. This is such a great thing. You really know how to flatter yourself. Xiang Wan had already found all the books and tied them up. Take them and read them. Jiang Zhao held the books in his hands and looked at the bundle of books about pregnancy. His eyes felt bitter, and he adjusted his position and attitude. Thank you, sister-in-law. Look, I told you to buy them, but you insisted that I come to Snow Garden to get them. I tested these books first. I found them for Yi Er after I found them useful. If you go to the bookstore to buy them, you won't know how to choose. Okay. Then I have to thank sister-in-law even more. After returning to Haicheng, Jiang Zhao read books with Yi Er every day. Sometimes, he would explain to Yi Er loudly, "Honey, look. It's written in the book that the best age for a man to give birth is 30 years old. For a woman, it's 25 years old. The bigger the age difference between a man and a woman, the smarter the baby will be." Yi Er was sleepy. She vomited less now, but her sleepiness didn't change. "Honey, do you understand what I'm saying? Why did you only say Hey, Yin Yi, are you deliberately pretending not to hear what I said? Say it again, I'm listening. I said that the best age for a man to give birth is 30 years old or later. For a woman, it's 25 years old. The baby born this way will be very smart. After 30 years old, men's intelligence will become more mature and can be inherited. This shows that an old man and a young wife are the perfect match. Do you understand what I mean?" "Yes." Yi Er answered him and didn't hear what he said. She only knew that he kept waving at her. Why isn't this fellow going to work? D***mn. Yun Yi. If it weren't for the prenatal education, he would have cursed. Yi Er was startled by the man's loud and clear voice. She opened her eyes. Wasn't she still lying on the bed? Did he have to work so hard to hug her with one hand and read a book with the other? "Hubby," Jiang Zhao glared at Yi Er. When he heard the soft, "hubby," he lost his temper. Thus, he told her what he thought. The book says that an old man and a young wife are the perfect match. Just like us, although we're 10 years apart, the baby will be very smart. This had always been a barrier in Jiang Zhao's heart. He always felt that this wife couldn't support the family. She was too young and unstable. It was very likely that there would be problems. Now that they had a child, she didn't seem unhappy because of the pregnancy. Yi Er frowned and said blankly, "Why is it an old man and a young wife?" "I think I'm a young wife, but I don't think you're old. Everyone says that I look old, but why do you look so young? So handsome." Jiang Zhao was delighted. He threw the book in his hand and hugged Yi Er even tighter. "Honey, really? Really? You're really not old? You're really not old." Jiang Zhao sweetly and cheekily placed his face on Yi Er's shoulder and smiled. Yi Er was confused. "Why are you so happy when I say you're not old?" Didn't they say that an old man and a young wife is better? Jiang Zhao's face stiffened. He coughed awkwardly and sat up. I'll go downstairs to cook wontons for you. Sleep for a while more. I'll wake you up later to eat. Xia Qian was still doing her internship. In order to perform well, she went to work early in the morning. She cleaned her colleagues' desks and didn't let go of her superiors' desks. She had read a workplace guide before. The general idea was that it was important to be diligent in a unit. If you showed off too much, you would be easily ostracized. However, Xia Qian neglected that she didn't have anything to show off. It was a terrible thing to work hard in a unit like this, especially for a girl like Xia Qian who came to the office early in the morning to do odd jobs. They were all new colleagues, so they couldn't stand her servile nature. Xia Qian actually didn't know how to socialize. In order to show that she had helped her colleagues, she would often loudly count her contributions in the morning when there were many people or superiors around. Xiao Wang, I helped you water your cactus. Xiao Li, your keyboard was too dirty. I helped you pat it and clean it again. Xiao Zhang, I categorized the documents on your desk. Xiao Zhao, I threw away the trash bag under your desk. There were a lot of snacks in it that would attract rats. Director Qian, I cleaned the floor in your office. Aya, Xiao Xia, thank you. F*CK, my cactus is a cactus. Do you think it's a rose? If you water it every day, do you want it to blow to death? How can I help you, Qian? F*CK, how is my keyboard dirty? Busybody. Xiao Xia, I've really troubled you. Crazy woman, where did the documents offend her? Categorize? Now I can't even figure out how to categorize things. Qian, thank you so much. Crazy woman, how dare she say that her trash bag attracted rats in front of her superiors? Is this woman a prostitute? Director Qian looked at Xia Qian with satisfaction. Xiao Xia, not bad. It's rare to see a young lady like you nowadays. You're also willing to help others. Now the office is clean every day. Not bad. In my opinion, the cleaning auntie isn't as good as Xiao Xia. There aren't many girls like Xiao Xia. You have a bright future ahead of you. 4 pairs of eyes and 8 shiny knives stabbed at Xia Qian's back. Director Qian continued, it seems that the cleaning auntie can be fired. Our TV station also needs to think of ways to increase revenue and reduce expenditure. Xiao Xia can do these things in the future. Xia Qian was waiting for the compliments happily, but who knew that Director Qian would say something like that? The smile on her face froze. She was so depressed that she wanted to die. The 4 people behind her laughed. None of them were happy. Aya, Qian, we'll have to trouble you in the future. Yes. Qian is really our TV station's little bee. Which young lady is like Xiao Xia these days? She's like a reincarnation of Lei Feng. Could it be that Comrade Lei Feng's soul has transmigrated into Xiao Xia's body? Xia Qian felt that her career had suffered a setback. She had been an intern for so long, and she was still an intern. Those who had good results had all been promoted. She clearly had a chance. It was just that after the incident at the swimming pool, her career had been progressing with setbacks. There were no setbacks, only more setbacks. Qian wasn't an idiot. At the end of the day, the main culprit was Qin Fian. Xia Qianyan slumped in her seat. As soon as she heard Qin Fian's name, she saw a beautiful man's face in front of her. His skin was fair and rosy under the hot water. His muscles, his abs, his long legs, and the lump between his abs and his long legs. Wah! Xia Qian took a deep breath. She felt something warm flowing out of her nostrils. There was a fishy smell. That liquid flowed through her nose and flowed to her lips. Xiao Xia. What's wrong? You're having a nosebleed. Xia Qian's eyes widened. She pulled out 2 pieces of tissue and pressed them against her nose. Then, the thoughts that popped up in her head were always different from those of ordinary people. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 732. God. I have a nosebleed. Do I have leukemia? I'm so young, how did I get such a disease? God, I just graduated from university, I haven't been promoted, I don't have a boyfriend, I'm still a virgin. How did I get such a terminal disease? She suddenly had a tragic thought. Even if she were to die, she had to kill Qin Fian before she died. Qin Fian was eating breakfast. Just as he drank the milk, he suddenly felt his nose itchy and uncomfortable. He couldn't tell where it was uncomfortable. Anyway. He quickly took a piece of tissue and covered his nose. Achoo! Brother, do you have a cold? Fei Yu also took a piece of tissue from the tissue box on the table. She stood up and walked to Qin Fian's side and helped him wipe his nose. Brother, wear more clothes. It's easy to catch a cold like this. Fei Yu looked at her brother who was wearing flashy pink. A shirt was a shirt. It was said that people who worked had to wear a shirt to look formal. Those who wore a t-shirt to work had no professional ethics. But her brother was wearing a shirt. His chest was bare and his muscles were exposed. She was speechless. Wearing this shirt on him, he had already lost his professional ethics. What are you talking about? I don't have a cold. This girl really knew how to meddle in other people's business. How could he not know if he had a cold? Besides, he exercised every day. How could he feel cold? I'm going to work. Eat slowly. I think someone will scold me. I've been scolding you every day. Why did you only sneeze today? Qin Rongfang didn't say anything. The porridge in front of him was still very hot. Now that the weather was cold, he didn't want to eat cold food. Eating hot food was more comfortable. He rolled his eyes at Qin Fian. Luckily, I'm not counting on you now. Look at how capable Zhao Zhao is. Little Yi is pregnant with twins. My Qin family has a descendant. Hurry up and get out of my sight. Grandpa, you're so petty. It's just giving birth. Didn't the news say that transsexuals are pregnant? Why don't I get my boyfriend to give birth to one for you to see? Qin Rongfang wasn't so angry at first, but when he heard Qin Fian talk about something he cared about so much and said it so unbearably, he picked up the bowl and threw it at Qin Fian. The old man's hand tilted, and the bowl flew towards Qin Fian. Qin Fian laughed and dodged, but the boiling hot porridge flew towards Fei Yu. Qin Rongfang. Fei Yu saw the porridge zest. She gasped, her mouth open, her eyes wide. Suddenly, a shadow rushed over and hugged speechless in an instant. Boiling hot porridge sprayed all over the person's back. What are you doing here? The young man turned around and looked at Fei Yu. Qin Fian pulled the young man away and looked at Fei Yu. Are you hurt? Fei Yu tilted her head and looked at the young man behind Qin Fian. Brother, the porridge splashed on Feng Xing's back. I'm fine. The young man looked at Fei Yu, his eyes relieved. He still didn't speak, but the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. He was wearing a normal t-shirt, but because of his tall stature and delicate features, he stood out. Fei Yu went over and took the young man's hand. I'll take you to the doctor at home. What if you're scalded? Without waiting for the others to agree, she dragged the young man away. Qin Fian frowned at the scene in front of him. Grandpa, what should we do? Fei Yu is still young. She's very compassionate. When Qin Rongfang said this, his tone was obviously not good. He doted on Fei Yu a lot. At that time, it was Fei Yu who insisted on bringing this young man back to High City. She cried and made a fuss, saying that it was wrong to leave him in the lurch. If they left, this young man would definitely be stranded on the streets. What would happen if he had no one to rely on? He was still a young man. What would happen if he committed a crime in the future? He promised her that if he brought this young man back, he could be a servant in the Qin family. Fei Yu even gave the mute boy a name, Feng Sheng. She said that it was because he met them at the seaside that he was saved from death's door. There were many beautiful children in ordinary families. But this Feng Sheng, he didn't speak normally and was very submissive. He didn't have the temperament of an ordinary child. At that time, he was so seriously injured. It was obvious that it was murder. She didn't know if it was a blessing or a curse to keep such a boy in the Qin family. Qin Fian looked at Feng Sheng and felt a little uncomfortable. In his eyes, Fei Yu was engaged to the Pei family by marriage. Although she was still young, in a few years, she would marry into the Pei family. No one could change that. But Fei Yu was too concerned about this Feng Sheng. And this Feng Sheng also seemed to pay special attention to Fei Yu. A boy who looked like he was only 17 to 18 years old, how could he be so scheming? But no matter if Fei Yu was scratched by a cat or frightened by a dog, Feng Sheng would follow her like a shadow. Like today's incident of blocking the porridge, if it was in the past, it would definitely be this older brother. But at that time, he didn't react. Feng Sheng was clearly a servant, but he was paying attention to their every move. Just thinking about it made him panic. Fei Yu was usually well-behaved, sensible, and kind-hearted. This was something that everyone in the Qin residence knew. Fei Yu was good to everyone. She had been a nanny in the family for decades, and she was treated like her own granddaughter. She was a girl who was easy to fall in love with. Just by looking at her eyes, one would know that she would not harm anyone. Perhaps he was biased, but after 17 years of living together, he was not a person who was easily deceived. It was just like how his grandfather looked very kind, but in fact, he was an old fox. This could not escape his eyes. Qin Fian had a feeling that Fei Yu liked Feng Sheng. At the beginning, it might have been sympathy. When he brought her back to High City, it might still be sympathy. But now? Feng Sheng had helped her resolve danger time and time again. Was it still sympathy? It was very easy for women to develop feelings for heroes. But no one could understand Feng Sheng's emotions. He never said a word. If he was told to do something, he would do it obediently. Nodding his head was the most common action. Sometimes, when Feng Sheng did things, there was a sense of accomplishment. Because he didn't act like a servant, but like a, Qin Fian shook his head. He thought about what grandfather said. His sister was still young. Maybe he was overthinking. After a day of work, it was finally time to get off work. Xia Qian drove her second-hand car, humming a little tune. She was an idiot, so she quickly polished off the day's troubles. Rush hour was the main theme of getting off work. For example, traffic jams, rear-end collisions, or car crashes. When Geely encountered the Maybach, must it be Cinderella who bumped into the prince? No. It must be the princess in distress who met the black-hearted sorcerer. The man didn't care if it was rush hour or not. Like a flirtatious model, he leaned against the front of the Maybach. "Miss, compensate me." Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian's flirtatious appearance. The lump between his long legs and abs appeared in front of her eyes again. Ah. Her nose felt hot again. She quickly covered it. Thinking that she had wiped his car, she quickly pulled out a wrinkled $100 bill from her jeans and handed it to him. "Here." Qin Fian looked at her with disdain. $100? Do you think my Maybach is your lousy car? Xia Qian looked at the car behind Qin Fian and felt guilty. She said, "Lousy car? Get your facts straight. My car looks like a BMW from the front and a Mercedes-Benz from the back. The frame is made in China. How can you call such a noble mixed-blood car a lousy car? Don't you know that Chinese and Western medicine are all the rage for cold medicine now? You're a wretch who worships foreign things." Qin Fian wasn't angry. 30,000. Otherwise, I'll deduct your driver's license. Do you believe me? 30,000? Why don't you go rob a bank? Ha! The man laughed flirtatiously. Xia Qian spat. The weather is so cold and you have so much meat. Are you selling meat? You've gone crazy thinking about money. Take it or leave it. Qin Fian looked at Xia Qian as if he was looking at dirt. If I sell meat, you won't be able to afford it. But if you sell meat, even if it's $1, you won't be able to sell it. So what if I sell meat? Even if we both sell meat, the value is, it's not the same. Xia Qian's self-esteem suffered a huge blow. But because of the price, she couldn't retort. Behind them, the loudspeakers were blaring. The road in front of Xia Qian's car was already very empty. She took a few steps forward and pulled open a man's collar. She threw the $100 bill in, turned around, opened the car door, and got in. Qin Fian was about to chase after her when Xia Qian quickly stuck her head out of the window. Flirtatious man, let me tell you. My car went to the junkyard during the day. My door handle was pulled by a very dirty cleaner who took out the garbage. Qin Fian's hand that was about to hold the car lock shrank back. Xia Qian took the opportunity to start the car and drive away. Qin Fian's naked body began to dangle in front of Xia Qian again. As she drove, she wiped the blood from her nose. Feeling the threat of death and despair, Xia Qian swore to herself that she would definitely ck Qin Fian. If she didn't ck Qin Fian, she wouldn't be human in her next life. But Qin Fian had a grudge against her. How could she successfully ck him? Knockout drug? No. King him while he was unconscious was simply too unexciting. She must ck him with an unforgettable orange flower. In his future gay life, he would never forget that a woman named Xia Qian had once given him orange blossoms. This way, Xia Qian's spirit would last forever. Xia Qian was a fool. When she felt that she was going to die, she didn't go to the hospital for a checkup. Instead, she thought about how to leave a name for herself after giving birth. When Xia Qian tricked Qin Fian into trusting her in a humble manner and was tied to the hotel bed by Xia Qian, Qin Fian experienced for the first time what it meant to be humiliated. When Qin Fian woke up, the back of his head hurt a lot. He wanted to reach out and rub it, but he found that his left hand couldn't reach the back of his head. His right hand also couldn't reach the back of his head. He wanted to turn over, but it was uncomfortable. Come and see, Songshu 566. Chapter 733. He tried a few more times and realized that his hands were tied behind his back. His feet were also tied. His ears were filled with the sound of bang 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 bang. He suddenly opened his eyes and realized that he was in a hotel bed. A hotel was always the best place in the world to distinguish it from other environments. No matter how cozy the decoration was, a hotel was still a hotel. It gave off a commercial hotel vibe. Following the sound, he found a woman with pear blossom hair fiddling with something in front of the dressing table. Xia Qian. Hey. Xia Qian was fiddling with a bunch of bottles and various utensils. These utensils were not ordinary utensils, but random things bought from a sex shop. When she answered Qin Fian, she was obviously absent-minded. Why did you tie me up? To satisfy you. Xia Qian felt that this man was asking the obvious, so she picked up a bottle of oil. Wait a minute, I'll find some videos to watch. I think it's a bit difficult to understand the things you gay people do. Time is tight, so I might as well learn and do it now. What do you mean by learn and do it now? Qin Fian shuddered. He finally recognized this woman's true nature. What humble acknowledgement of a mistake. What fawning. What grandpa, 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 grandpa. He even said that he would help her bring something to the hotel. Now she knew that the box of things was clearly the tools on the table, and he had personally helped her bring them up. As soon as the things were put down, she picked up the stick and knocked him out. As the saying goes, a woman's heart is the most vicious. Only women and villains are the hardest to deal with. His hands were tied behind his back, and his feet were tied together. This way, he could bend his body more comfortably. He tried to untie the rope with his hands behind his back, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find the knot. At this moment, Xia Qian said with some annoyance, "Popping orange flowers is too complicated. Look, I bought a lot of things, but they're too thick. I think it's difficult to put them in your orange flowers. Xia Qian, I'm warning you. Don't mess around." Qin Fian was born a beauty. At this moment, his face was dark and his eyes were sharp. Even though he was tied up, he still revealed a ferocious look as if he wanted to eat someone alive. Xia Qian shrugged her shoulders and spat. Then she deliberately patted her chest and shrank her neck. Yeah, young Master Fei Yan, I'm so scared. Xia Qian, I won't let you live in peace in Sea City. I will personally kill you. Seeking no place to live in peace. Just give him a tomb. If you kill me with your own hands, cremate me, and then throw my ashes into the sea. At this point, Xia Qian started humming a song. Cut love into pieces and blow it into the sea. There are many things that can be understood after being washed away by tears. Innocent as I am. Qin Fian struggled to break free from the rope on his back. When he heard Xia Qian singing Ah Mei's song, he wanted to kick him. How naive. That's right, naive my ass. You don't believe that I'm naive? I feel that there's a need for you to understand me. Xia Qian felt that it was a pity that no one could understand her in her lifetime. Her sister loved her, but it was only love. No one understood her. There were many thoughts in her heart that were not understood. She felt that she was very smart, but others thought that she was very stupid and strange. She clearly felt that things were very right, but in the eyes of others, it was very funny and very funny. Why was this? Xia Qian threw the things in her hands away and climbed onto the bed. She slept beside Qin Fian. Qin Fian reflexively leaned back and wriggled a few times with difficulty, distancing himself from Xia Qian. However, Xia Qian domineeringly put her arm through Qin Fian's neck and pulled him into her embrace. She lay on the bed, crossed her legs, and patted Qin Fian's face with her other hand. She said very manly, "Be good." Qin Fian almost vomited blood. "Don't King touch me." His face was really green. His eyes were red. He reckoned that his liver was trembling. Xia Qian did not care about this. She felt that she was going to die. What was a dying person afraid of? At worst, you'll let me die a few hours earlier. Leukemia, God. It was scary just thinking about it. In TV shows and novels, when the protagonists got such a disease, they would hide it from everyone and bear the pain alone. Xia Qian felt that at this time, her sentiments had been raised to another level. This noble quality of thinking for others was not something that everyone had. Especially at her age, when she was young and beautiful. Who would be like her? She kept the sadness to herself and left the laughter to others. Xia Qian was almost moved by herself. So she used a little more strength in her arms. She still had the ability to deal with a man with 4 limbs tied up. Qin Fian was firmly fixed in Xia Qian's arms. No matter how much he wanted to resist, Xia Qian would not let go. Qin Fian. I want to talk to you about life. Talk my ass. I'm not interested. Let me tell you, if you don't untie me, you're dead meat. Xia Qian did not hear the threat and said to herself, "Hey, let me tell you, my sister is my uncle's daughter. She's really good to me and always gave in to me. When I was in junior high, I was much uglier than I am now. My body was full of scars and my classmates laughed at me. She stole second aunt's gold bracelets, gold necklaces, and gold rings and sold them. With the money from selling the jewelry, she found some hooligans in our town and beat up all the classmates who laughed at me and bullied me in school. She even said that if anyone dared to bully me in school, she would beat them to death." Xia Qian sniffled. But that day, she helped me vent my anger, but second aunt beat her up too. My aunt couldn't bear to do it, but she had no choice. Second aunt said that she would send her to the police station. Later, eldest aunt gave all the gold that she had brought with her as dowry to second aunt. Only then was the matter settled. Qin Fian was not in the mood to listen to this. Xia Qian, a scourge like you specializes in harming people. Qiu Xiaoye was blind to help you. Qin Fian felt uncomfortable being strangled by Xia Qian. He wanted to break free, but as the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Now, he could not even stretch out a finger, let alone 2 fists. He opened his mouth and bit down. Who cares what he bit? Xia Qian was shocked by the pain. All the hurt that a literary young woman should have felt disappeared. She reached out and pinched the beautiful man's chin and moved away from herself. She really wanted to draw a turtle on his face or deform it, so that when she looked at a man's face, she would not feel that it was a mistake to be born a woman. The pain in her chest was still there. Fortunately, she was wearing a thick bra with a thick sponge cushion. Was this the help of a flat-chested woman? If a big-chested woman was wearing Les's thin bra, she would have lost half her breasts after being bitten by this beast. Faced with another enemy, Xia Qian said sternly, Qin Fian. You son of a b*tch. Last time, you took off my clothes and tried to molest me. At that time, I saw your naked body, so we called it even. But now, you're trying to molest me again. How dare you lick my breasts? Qin Fian's mouth was wide open. He couldn't even muster the strength he wanted to muster. Did he hear wrongly? He wanted to molest her? Bah! Also, the woman had said lick, not bite. But he clearly used the word bite. Why are you opening your mouth so wide? Do you want me to kiss you? Why would I kiss you? You're a homosexual. You've kissed a man before, and you want me to kiss you? In your dreams. Xia Qian roared righteously. She looked at the beautiful man's face in her hand. Wow, this mouth is really good. What a seductive little bottom. The heavens are really messing around. It's a pity for such a man to be a bottom. It's a waste of a heavenly gift. How can he be a bottom with such muscles? Her hand was pinched on Qin Fian's face. It was as if her hand was stuck between his teeth, so it was impossible for him to close his mouth even if he wanted to. Qin Fian looked at Xia Qian's perverted eyes and shuddered again. His almond-shaped eyes widened and he looked back. He wanted to kick someone. He wanted to kick someone. He wanted to kill someone. What was this woman doing? She wanted to kiss him. If she dared to kiss him, he would kill her today. The face of the woman in front of him was getting bigger and bigger, getting closer to him. Xia Qian was sucking on Qin Fian's lips. Her tongue reached into his mouth for a moment and then escaped. Qin Fian closed his mouth and was about to bite Xia Qian's lips. Xia Qian knew that she was in danger. She kissed him a few times and quickly ran away. She didn't forget to laugh at him. Look at you. It's not your first time kissing. Why are you so shy? Qin Fian thought about the stinky tofu from last time. He closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths. When he opened his eyes again, he narrowed them. There was an ominous glint in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, Xia Qian, remember this. You provoked a man called Qin Fian today. Xia Qian wasn't afraid. She was going to die. What was there to be afraid of? She kissed Qin Fian's face and deliberately swept more saliva on his lips. She even kissed him on the cheek. Then, she smeared it all on Qin Fian's face. She chuckled. I'll remember it. I'll remember it until I die. Don't worry, I won't forget you. Dear, do you feel honored? Qin Fian could still feel the woman's saliva on his face. This crazy woman. He aimed at the woman's head and used his strength to knock his head against hers. Ah! Ah! Xia Qian let go of Qin Fian and touched her forehead, which was seeing stars. Qin Fian. You. Xia Qian jumped off the bed angrily and picked up a pair of scissors from the table. It was the pair of scissors that Xiaoya used to cut clothes. She crouched in front of Qin Fian and waved it. Qin Fian. Do you see? Scissors. Our game has begun. Asterisk 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 scissors. Scissors. What was this crazy woman trying to do? Qin Fian had a very bad feeling. If she put scissors on a man's body and said that she wanted to use it, the things she cut would be hair-raising. Xia Qian held the scissors and approached Qin Fian. Don't move. I'll cut your flesh later. If you move on your own, I won't care if you bleed. Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 734. Qin Fian really didn't dare to move. Don't move, Qin Fian. Let me tell you, you're the most shameless. You actually grabbed my dress and tore it. That's too much. Think about it. My dress is so expensive. It's custom-made. Although my sister also has custom-made dresses are very expensive. Don't you know? You opened the front of the dress. It's so frail that it can't be mended. What a pity. I was planning to wear it to show off at class gatherings in the future. Look at you. It's fine if you don't compensate me, but you keep bullying me. Xia Qian picked up the corner of Qin Fian's trousers, aimed the scissors at the mouth, and cut down. She cut a small hole, then put the scissors down. She pinched both sides of the opening with her hands and pretended to tear it. She looked at Qin Fian, who had been burning her with hatred, and said, I'm going to pay you back today. What you did to me, I'm going to do to you. Today, I'm going to tear your clothes. Humph, Qin Fian snorted coldly and exhaled. Fortunately, she was only tearing his clothes. He ignored her for the time being and thought of a way to break free from the rope. Xia Qian forcefully tore open Qin Fian's trousers. She stopped after tearing a section. It was not coherent. She tore until she reached his groin. Then, she threw away the fabric, revealing his long legs. One leg was wearing casual trousers, and the other was lying there beautifully. Looking at the torn fabric, his white skin, and the way he was tied up, it really looked like he had been cruelly defiled. She couldn't bear it, she couldn't bear it. Xia Qian felt her heart soften again. Looking at the man's legs, she swallowed her saliva and started to cut the other trousers. Both legs were exposed. This was the most beautiful beggar, right? Dressed so shabbily. If Qin Fian stood up, such elegant trousers would definitely be very sexy. Xia Qian rubbed her face. She simply used the scissors to cut deeper, directly cutting the waist of the trousers. This was great. The man was wearing a pair of bullet underwear, and the thing in his pocket was a big and bulging bag. It was not that she had not seen him take a bath that day. Her eyes suddenly seemed to have X-ray vision, and she saw a black forest and something. Aya, she's too pure. I don't know what to say. For the time being, I'll just give her a written name. JJ. Qin Fian bent his body and bent his legs to avoid Xia Qian's perverted appearance. Xia Qian. You're not allowed to look. It's not like I haven't seen it before. How can you be so shameless? When have I ever cared about my face? Why did this conversation sound so familiar? Qin Fian was speechless. That's right. Since when did she care about her reputation? She dared to push him back into the swimming pool and pull off his pants in front of everyone. Thinking about it from the beginning to the end, he really felt very hurt. Saber wanted to see it coming. After cutting Qin Fian's pants and clothes, Qin Fian was left with only a pair of underwear. His hands were tied behind his back, and his legs were tied. Such a fair and beautiful man. She really could not bear to ravage him. Qin Fian, I've now cut off all your clothes and pants. I've avenged you for ripping off my clothes. Xia Qian put the scissors back on the dressing table and returned to the bed. She lay on her side, supported her head with one hand, and made herself look at Qin Fian. Now I want to take revenge on other things. Xia Qian. Qin Fian could no longer predict what Xia Qian was going to do. He could only grit his teeth and call out Xia Qian's name word by word. Last time, you were not gentlemanly. You actually wanted to throw me down from such a high place. My back was bruised from the water for a few days. You made me not dare to tell my sister for many days. You scum. If I don't throw you down today, I'm not Xia Qian. As Xia Qian spoke, she pushed and shoved Qin Fian towards the bed. The man was tall and strong. Xia Qian used a lot of strength to push him to the side of the bed. Only when the man was pushed to the side of the bed did she smile evilly. Qin Fian did not care. There was a carpet in the hotel, so it would not hurt much. When he was kicked off the bed, bang. Damn. Why was the ground so hard? So cold? He tilted his head to look. Magnetic tiles. Only then did he realize why he could feel that it was a hotel. This hotel was definitely below 2 stars. It showed the tackiness of a low-class hotel everywhere. His body was bare, and the magnetic tiles were cold. So dirty. Qin Fian fell to the ground. He wanted to sit up, but Xia Qian kicked him to the ground. As soon as he sat up, he was kicked to the ground again. Xia Qian. If you have the ability, kill me here today. Otherwise, I'll tell you, I'll make you feel that living is the most painful thing in the world. Okay, I'll tell you. You must let me know what it feels like. Xia Qian sat on the edge of the bed. One of her white feet stepped on Qin Fian's chest, not allowing him to stand up. She crossed her arms, trembling proudly, and raised the corner of her eyebrows. To be honest, Xia Qian felt that although she was called stupid by others, no one could bear to humiliate her in front of her, let alone hurt her. The incident at the swimming pool last time was really unforgettable. Therefore, her hatred for Qin Fian was especially deep. People said that when a person was about to die, his words would be kind. However, she did not want to be a kind person. No matter what, she had to solve the problems that she had caused when she was alive. She did not want to be depressed in the netherworld. In her next life, she swore that she would not be called stupid by others. Don't think that she did not know that those people secretly laughed at her for being stupid. Didn't they think that she was stupid? If she was stupid, how would she know that her sister was good to her? If she was stupid, why would she go to Yi Er and ask Jiang Zhao to introduce her to a job instead of her sister? If she was stupid, why would she work part-time as a waitress in a place like Haiyue restaurant? Now that she was no longer working there, people kept calling her to go back to work and even gave her a raise. Many customers said that they were asking why the girl named Xia Qian was not there anymore. She was not stupid at all. Humph. Stepping on Qin Fian's chest, Xia Qian said carelessly, "Well, Qin Fian, you scum. Let me tell you, I was just taking revenge for you throwing me into the pool. This is considered light. The conditions here are poor and simple. It's just a formality to satisfy my vanity. But you called me a cement board. I still have to take revenge. Don't you know that it's not good to say that a woman's breasts are small, just like a woman saying that a man's penis is small?" Xia Qian glanced at Qin Fian's lower abdomen. Qin Fian bent his legs even deeper to cover his private parts. "As for me, I just want to see how big yours can be. What right do you have to laugh at my small breasts?" Xia Qian said as she stood up, walked to the other side of Qin Fian, and squatted down. What Xia Qian did to Qin Fian was over. Qin Fian hated women touching his body. This was a fact that everyone knew, but Xia Qian touched him again and again. The first time, she took stinky tofu and forced a kiss on him. She even pressed him to the ground and kissed him. Then, she took off his pants. Today, not only did she kiss him, she even smeared her saliva on his face. He let out a long sigh. He closed his eyes and steadied his mind. He was on the verge of exploding. His hands were tied behind his back, but he could still feel the fake watch on his wrist. His heart was beating violently. He swore that if Xia Qian, this demoness, dared to do anything to him today, he would. In the future, he wouldn't care if she was his sister-in-law's friend or Zhuang Yichen's sister-in-law. No matter who she was. Even God couldn't stop him from taking revenge on her. Xia Qian slowly squatted down beside him and smiled coldly. Qin Fian, if yours is really big, you can laugh at me however you want. But what if yours is small? In the future, I'll tell everyone that Qin Fian is gay because it's too small. Haha. Qin Fian's heaving chest was filled with anger. Xia Qian could feel it, but she was now a person who didn't fear power. She was not afraid. Her hand reached towards Qin Fian's lower abdomen. Qin Fian desperately bent his legs and bowed his body, determined not to let Xia Qian get close to him. Xia Qian was anxious and tried to pry his legs apart. Qin Fian was even more anxious. He imitated what he did on the bed just now and slammed his head hard against Xia Qian's head. Xia Qian's eyes were seeing stars again. Qin Fian was gasping for breath after slamming his head against Xia Qian. When he spoke, he was out of breath. Xia Qian. If you dare touch me today, you're dead meat. You're dead meat. When Xia Qian saw Qin Fian lying naked on the floor, her nose heated up again. Oh no, my nose is bleeding again. She was probably not far from death. I'm already dead meat. Why would I be afraid of you? You dare not be afraid? Why should I be afraid of you? You think that with Qiu Shaoya's backing and Zhuang Yichen's backing and the fact that you're my sister-in-law's friend, I have to give in to you, right? Let me tell you, if you dare touch a hair on my body again, I'll use 100 ways to kill you. Xia Qian squatted there and slapped her hands. Why are you so agitated? You've seen my chest, so what's wrong with me looking at your place? You can laugh at me, so can't I laugh at you? Your temper is really weird. Do you really think that you're a young master? So what if you're a young master? Do you think that a young master doesn't have to take responsibility after seeing a virgin's chest? Dream on. Do you think that my chest is for show? Asterisk. Xia Qian did not go to Qin Fian's front to pull off his pants. Instead, she grabbed Qin Fian's waist and pulled it down. The first time Qin Fian had the thought of killing himself was when Xia Qian touched, scratched, and used condoms to make his second brother stand up majestically. Xia Qian. I'm going to kill you. You bastard. Ah, Qin Fian, what's wrong with your brother? Why is he so fangirled? You're not a virgin, are you? Oh, but you're a bottom. You're probably not a virgin anymore. What a pity, your bottom thing is so big. Qin Fian looked at the bed frame in front of him. It was made of wood. He wanted to crash into it without hesitation. He had died 100 times, but he also wanted revenge. Attention, Hongcha 866. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.